One, go. Hey, folks, and welcome back to Out the Abyss with me, Beanie, and my amazingly awesome, totally cool friends, Laurie.
Hello.
Matt.
Ass kisser.
Hello.
Mike.
Hi.
And Phil.
Hello.
I wasn't last this week. Yay, I'm moving up in the ranks.
I am
I thought I was last week.
You don't get to decide.
I mean, this week I was just going down the list, admittedly, on my OBS, but small warning, I am super sleepy this week, so expect nothing but mistakes and such from me as a DM, but either way...
Nothing but...
you're hilarious.
Hey, you have me here.
So, last session in Out of the Abyss, Renlin and his fine crew had managed to settle in on a island in the middle of the water body that they were boating on. The island itself was mostly fungal, it would seem, with rocky shore that they had set up on. During their time on this, Renlin had a somewhat awkward encounter with another party member, Bipido, who it did seem was attempting to do something to him related to the poison on a small crossbow bolt, and several times attempted to stab him with it, only for Renlin to resist the effects and eventually burn the the Darrow half to death, or pretty much all to death, causing the Darrow to run away and flee. As he fled, he did attract the attention of a strange Sverfneblin, who approached in the direction that the Darrow was running from and discovered Renlin and his group. After another strange encounter in which the Sverfneblin drew this new stranger, Renlin agreed for Anwar the Gnome to join the group.
Yeah, I've got a fan base now.
And however, this was followed very shortly after by a powerful roar that shook the earth itself and sent part of the group careering through the floor and into the depths of some strange structure below. Half the group up top, Topsy the Sverfneblin and the Drow Sareth were unable to get down, so they shouted down and said they would meet up with the group. They'd try and find a way down themselves elsewhere. After taking a long rest at the bottom, however, there was no sight of these two. And so it was decided to explore a little and see if you could find them. Upon exploring, the group stumbled across what seemed to be a sentient gelatinous cube, which agreed to help them. I can't remember specifically what you asked for. Was he leading you out or something?
We just asked him if we could move out of the way.
That's right.
And he was very polite. He's like, yeah, sure.
He was.
I'm only leading you into a trap, but you know.
After moving out of the way, the party followed him somewhat and were beset by some horrible ooze creatures that almost felled the entire group, knocking pretty much everybody except for Renlin into unconsciousness, I believe.
And Stool. Stool is conscious.
And Stool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Gotta give credit to the mushroom.
The evil slimes were banished, and as we rejoin our group, Renlin, you and Stool are currently the only people standing.
That's right.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm nearly dead. How's Stool looking? Hello, Stool?
I believe Beanie has the health, not me.
Sorry. Stool is...
He's not good in any case.
There is, between his current and his maximum hit points, there is 3 ones. 2 of those are his max.
Oh, so 1 out of 11, okay.
1 out of 11.
That was a very confusing way of saying that.
Yeah.
I'm extremely sleepy, as I said before. I don't expect sense out of me tonight.
All right.
Oh, there it is.
Did the large ooze give us a name for it?
It did. It called itself.
Gabagool? What was it?
That's right, Glabagool. 2 seconds. I just need to get the book out of my bag. I took it to work and forgot to get it back out. Goodies.
It is weird that you remember that name, or at least
In all
remember
fairness,
that name.
I want to keep him as a pet,
Mhm.
or at least as a companion. So,
Sorry about
I mean, where else are you going to find a sentient ooze that's wielding a mace?
that. Did it drop the mace, or is it still carrying the mace?
It's still inside, as far as I'm
It's
aware.
also wielding a drow, if I remember correctly.
There is a drow corpse and a mace inside the inside Glabagool.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
change it to the right map.
I was gonna say.
I'm already on the right map.
I'm not.
I'm not.
Everybody else is now.
Oh.
Yay!
Yay.
But yeah, I'm gonna shout ahead to Glabbergal and say, "Hey, are there any more of those oozes around?"
About 20 seconds pass, and there's no response.
I'm gonna pick up. No, hang on. Who's the light? Actually, no. Seeing as he's my fanboy, I'm gonna pick up Anwar and see if I can carry him, like, back to the previous room, like room 2.
Okay. Yeah, he's a surf nebula. He's fairly small. Are you picking up his
I think
metal thing as well?
barring my equipment, I weigh 100 pounds without any equipment, so not too heavy.
If I can carry both, then yeah, I'll do that, and I'll stay still. Like, keep an eye out. I'm gonna bring them back to the previous room, and I'll sort of put him down, sort of sit him up against the wall, and then I'll go and pick up Turvy, and then do the same to him, and I'll bring them both back.
For their size, you do actually notice that these Sperpneblin do weigh a lot. Like, you realise they must be very dense creatures, like physically, not mentally.
Hey!
They are very dense. They're not very smart.
They are very much one with the rock that they have evolved around, and you are able to pick them up and move them into their room. Did you say if you were you picking up his metal tube?
I'll bring that back as well. I mean, I don't know what it is, but he seems to.
Okay.
It makes loud noises, I guess.
He seems to like it.
This is my broomstick.
I'm trying to justify myself. Laurie make a check to see if the gun goes off, but I'm not that cruel.
Also, I don't think
So-
it's loaded.
Do you not load it at the end of your turn?
I
Like
load it-
attack and then bonus action to load?
I know at the start of the turn. I don't know if it'll work without my magic, though.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's not technically an invention. It's a
It's a magic
I-
thingy.
actually. I would actually say that is up to you. Like, is it mechanical or is it magical?
It uses lead shot and magical components when I put it in, so potentially it could be fired by someone. It's already magically charged.
In that case, yeah, it'd be. But either way, as I said before, I'm not that cruel, so it's irrelevant either way.
Yeah, we're
more for
going
the
to
sake of future
rest.
things. Are you going to rest?
Yep.
I'm unconscious. I don't really get much of a say in this.
Is this a
Okay.
short rest or a long rest you're going for?
Considering this is the morning, it's going to have to be a short rest for a
I
start.
was going to say you'd be here a bit longer than a normal long rest if you're going for that. About
In theory, it would be a whole day.
basically, yeah.
Mm.
That's what I was meaning by a bit longer. About 10 minutes pass, and you suddenly start hearing a squelching sound getting louder and louder.
I'll take a look. Is it
Oh,
is
God
it
damn
the
it, Redwood.
thing coming back?
You kind of peek down your corridor, and you can't see anything. Are you just going to go to the corner so you can see into the room beyond? Like, bearing in mind the corridor you're looking down is basically straight and then a hard angle.
Yeah,
So you see
I'm just gonna wait there. Like, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it doesn't come in here where we're trying to rest, then that's probably
About-
fine.
2 minutes pass then, and then you see the very, very heavily dissolved corpse just pop its head around the corner, and then upon kind of blinking a few times, you start to make out the very hard to see solidified liquid that surrounds that. And you hear a familiar voice in your head. Oh, hello. I thought you wanted to get past me.
We did, but some of your, I don't know if they were your friends or what, but some of the more evil creatures attacked us, and we're quite badly injured. So we need to rest, and then if you'll allow it, then once we've finished our rest, then we can get past you. Are there any more creatures like you around here other than the ones we found already?
Oh, yes.
Well, that answered that question, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I don't know what this place is, but it seems like it is crawling with those of my kin. Although I seem to be the only one with the ability to think. All of them seem mindless.
You're a very polite one. I do like you. So hopefully, once we've had our rest, you can perhaps find us a safer route through the through these tunnels that doesn't have so many of your kin in it.
Okay. I will remain here and watch for more of my kin then. And
Thank you.
And you kind of see the entire thing just kind of settle a bit into the corridor, and you suddenly realize, like, looking at this corridor, it's about it is 5 foot wide, and the size of this cube kind of squeezed into it basically means that it's kind of stuffed in entirely to the roof about 15 feet up and is kind of going out and backwards a little bit in odd formations. Like, it's jelly squeezed into a space where it's not necessarily supposed to be, kind of thing. But he does
enough Japan to know where this is going.
He does remain there. And with him completely blocking the corridor, you realise that, assuming that he's not a threat, you're not going to have
Hey, Lex, how's it going?
From that direction without going through him.
Going to finish our rest.
The rest of the rest passes peacefully.
All right.
And you're
hit die time.
Spend, as many hit dice as you want.
What kind of hit die does Turvy have?
I was about to say, what hit dice does Stool have?
I was just looking into that myself.
Oh my god, hurry up.
I'm
getting impatient.
All of them.
Actually, don't. That's one thing I didn't write down for them, weirdly. Most it's actually not. It's not typically listed in a monster's stats. I didn't expect a monster to take short rests.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
I mean, it makes sense not to include.
Could you say we have 4?
You have 6. It's 68 plus 1 each.
68 plus 1, damn.
Each. So I've got a con of +0.
Stool.
Basically,
you don't get 60.
Okay, if you can tell me where you're up to in the story, then I'll carry on from there. So, what was the last bit that you
but you said
actually
we've got
saw?
68 plus 1 each.
Yeah, so as in
that meant both of us.
Oh no, sorry, I was again extremely sleepy.
When you have a long rest and you get your hit die back, does it round up or down when it gives you half? Down.
Always rounds down, but you get a minimum of 1.
You said D8, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Phil, Stool gets 2d6.
Of course he does. I was on 1, wasn't I? So
yes.
Fucking
nice. Oh, you're awake.
Well, bear in mind
I was already
that
awake.
if you roll a 1, you can re-roll because it's
it's not level up.
This isn't.
Oh, it's not the same as level up. Okay, excuse me.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna use all of them.
Stool's on 6.
10.
But yeah, Lex,
No,
what was
sure
the
I've
last
got a pencil
combat
somewhere.
or the last event that you actually watched? So if you can tell me that, then I can tell you.
Okay, so how much? What's Stool
I can
on
catch
now?
up speed.
Well, Stool recovered 5, so 6.
Okay. What is Topsy on? Topsy or Turvy? Every fucking time.
Turvy.
Turvy. It is Turvy.
Yep.
See, you were having a go at me for getting it wrong last time.
It's really easy to mess it up.
Yeah, it is.
Now on.
Oh, your first time
No,
watching.
11.
Damn. Okay.
Got an 8 and a 3.
Each
And you're only
different
using-
thing is about
remember you
3
have
hours
60
long,
if you want it.
so that
Yeah, I
times that by 9,
Sorry, I
and
just
there's a
didn't know if
lot to catch you
You know
up
what,
on.
fuck
But
it,
basically,
why not?
A group of
That wasn't me
characters
telling you have to
got
do more,
captured
do it
by
more, do it more.
dark elves
What's that, Ron?
and were taken
Nah, man.
deep,
I've used- well, I've
deep
used all three of my
underground,
hit die, so I'm
and
currently
we
on
escaped
25.
their prison,
Cool.
and we're
And
basically trying to find our way to the surface. And at one point, we got attacked
Laurie,
by.
you're muted.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking to you.
I mean, what's your
Wow.
current health? Then?
What
What's my
did we
current one?
do?
Sorry,
What's your current health?
my current health is now at 22.
Okay.
Also, I use more hit die. I'm now on
But
29.
yeah, and
29.
basically,
I had more hit
there's
die
this
to use.
gigantic thing called
You're right, I thought you
Demigorgon.
were over. Do you want-
I swear.
And let
do you want,
me
do you want
see.
two of mine, Tom? I've got two left
Where is
over.
it?
I would
I mean, apart from the
absolutely
fact that
love
we've
to
drawn
have
on
hit
it,
Die are not
there's a
transferable.
gigantic
Please read the
demon
terms and
like
conditions
that
of
that
the
attacked
short
us at
rests.
one point,
Damn,
Yeah,
we've
you'll
only
find
noticed
out.
what I
and
signed up.
basically the party got split up.
You all read the terms and conditions when you joined the Out of the Abyss campaign, right? I mean, I
So
sent it around.
there's
It's
my main character here,
1000
Renlin the
pages.
I
Warlock,
mean,
I-
I don't read the terms and
and
conditions for anything,
there's
so
Matt's main
no.
character here, and
I
like,
Rob.
totally-
I own your soul now.
Read the entire thing.
And then
before
the
we-
other two main characters are actually
signed a
somewhere
Warlock
else.
Contract and all
But yeah,
that.
there is a lot that you've got to catch up on, and
Wait
it's
a
going to take me
second,
forever
wait a
to actually
minute.
catch you up on it.
Contract.
But basically,
So you're playing
that's
Stool.
where we are right now,
See?
trying to make our way to the
Oh,
surface. And
Anyway,
we were very deep
so,
underground. We were very
everybody
lost.
is now awake and feeling sore. Basically, your entire body's where you were dissolved, basically burning. Like, without actual healing, you're not really in the greatest situation. Like, you're basically calloused with blisters and dissolved skin all over your bodies. You notice that they've actually torn into your clothes and even your armor at certain points, although not enough so to actually damage anything. No, not enough so to mechanically damage anything, I should say.
So everyone's awake, yeah.
Everybody is, however, awake.
I'm going to pause
Matt
the
has got the
water.
wrong token.
He's always had the wrong token.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's the right.
We do have a new
it's-
one, though.
Yeah, because the new one is on the other page, isn't it?
I've
Just
got
as
the-
a heads up, that is my first one of the session where I try and zoom in on OBS because I've got them side by side again.
Good job.
Yeah, just keeping people aware.
How do I get rid of the blue ring? I can't do it.
Like this.
There you go. If you right click on it and then go to state, then you can change it like that.
Oh, it's
What do you say?
state.
Yeah, as in like what state is your character in, basically.
Oh, look at the state of you.
Exactly.
Neat. Because I was trying to play with the Halo and like, wait, it's not working.
Quiet you,
Beep, beep.
whoever that was.
Beep beep to you too.
Somebody beep beeped.
I didn't hear any beep beep.
All right, are
Somebody
you guys?
declared that they were a sheep.
You guys ready to head off?
Yes. Wait, why do I have a
Sorry.
health bar now? Oh no.
Do you? Wait,
Yeah,
why
I've
do you?
got a health
Why
bar.
do
I have
you
a
have
health bar
health
now.
bar
I don't
now?
know. I didn't do that.
I didn't.
We just
Oh,
all
no.
turn and see Tom's got a health bar floating above
Like,
him.
oh shit,
Oh,
that
there
one's
we
got
go.
a mana bar.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. It's sorted. All right. Although I could probably keep them on. I'll sort that out for next session. So,
Health bars.
yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing to.
Wouldn't be
Yeah.
bad, no. Just one more thing to have to do.
Yeah, true. Although it'd be an easier way of me to keep track of it rather than a little card. What are you doing?
If is everybody ready?
I realise that I am currently burning a little bit, and I'm going to pour some water onto some of the burning areas just for the sake of soothing them a little bit.
You pour water on, and and I'm going to make a Constitution save.
Okay, can I do that? Yes, I can, apparently. 11.
11. You manage to hold in the scream as the
Okay.
Immense pain shoots through your arm upon the water touching the
I'm surprised actually that
blisters
Gabriel's not
and
here.
such.
He's
It
probably
seems like
he's probably
water
playing
doesn't
Overwatch.
react brilliantly with this acid.
Okay, so what I need to do is put baking soda on it.
It didn't it's not enough to damage. Like you don't think it'd actively do more damage, but it did. Like it's
didn't
like
help.
it's like poking a wound. It's it just
didn't really help, right?
it just
okay.
lets you know it's there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, well, that was painful.
Well, that was painful. I wonder what happened if I do it again.
Like, oh my god, that hurt so much. Let's do it again.
You've got a weird fetish.
Like,
I'm pretty
I
sure
actually-
masochism's a rather popular.
It's fairly
it's
common.
one
Not
of the-
not that it's not weird. It's just fairly common. I actually knew this kid back in school who, like, every time he got like an injury or something, but like, hey everyone, punch me in my wound.
The
Anyway,
Laugh his ass off
Okay
every
then.
time.
anyway,
Like, oh
back
my
to
God,
D&D.
That was a tangent and a half.
Anyway,
Back to the Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, so we're not
stop-
allowed to talk
stop
about
being-
my
we're
freaky
not allowed to
classmate,
talk
but we can
about-
talk
Stop
about
being
dungeons.
social. We're nerds playing D&D.
But we can
Shut
talk
up.
about dungeons and
Damn
some kinky
right.
shit that's dragons or something. I don't know.
Did you say, wait, Dungeons and Dragons?
Did
Even better
nobody
when you find the
tell...
dragon in the dungeon.
Sorry, important question here. Did nobody tell Mike what D&D was before we asked him to join us to play it? Like, it
Well, I've
seems
got
like
my
he's very
gimp mask right here, and I'm just waiting for it to
misunderstanding
tell me to put it on.
Well,
Dungeons and Dragons, right?
when we said it was a fantasy thing, he just thought fantasy's in porn.
He
so,
thought we
you
were
know.
going on Dragon's Den to sell some sort of S&M company or something.
Oh, I thought you were
I
just in
was-
some kinky fantasy shit. Oh, this makes sense.
I was wondering why he was so determined to get the whip as his main weapon.
I had to play for a while, so not the same.
And the leather armor. Oh,
Oh yes,
anyway,
Right then.
I prefer this game. Can we play this game more?
no. Bad Mike. Bad Mike.
This is why it's going to take so
yes,
long
I'm
to
a
finish
bad,
the dungeon.
Bad Mike Beanie. I'm such a bad Mike.
You know what? You're getting mute. No. Oh, God damn it.
Love it.
The worst thing was I was about to say fuck you, but I know the direction that'd get. Anyway, so what are you doing?
I don't even know.
Are you guys ready?
I as ready as wait. I don't say that. I say nothing.
I am in pain, but yes.
He's poking his wounds, saying harder. I like it.
I'll turn to the giant ooze and say, "All right, friend, we're ready to move. So if you could lead the way and show us the safe route."
Okay. Immediately, you notice that he kind of shifts a bit, and you notice underneath him
Were you dabbing?
a pool of or a puddle of water starts to spread as if it was kind of blocked on the other side of him, and now he's shifting. It's moving in, and as he moves further, you start to notice this is running faster and faster until you realise that there was actually quite a bit blocked up on the other side of him, maybe a foot or so deep. As it rushes out,
Oh,
it does kind of catch into the feet of a few of you, and you do have to kind of grimace as the
Oh, not
a
again.
few lower wounds start to burn. It's not as bad as actively pouring it on your arm,
is it acidic
since
water?
it's kind of into your shoes, but it's not. It's
Gotta
not
drink
acidic.
that up.
It's
Drink
not
that
acidic.
shit up.
Okay, good.
But it's
Um,
not nice.
Wait a second. So there's the water on the along that. This isn't good.
You don't remember seeing any water in the rooms beyond that
There was
you
no
looked
water.
into.
There was no water before, and now there's water.
Well,
and
I'll
hopefully not too
I'll
much
ask him.
water.
Not for nothing, but
say, hey,
what's
where's
this
this water coming from? There wasn't any water here before.
What are you looking at? That is slime. That's like where the ground has kind of melted away and dissolved a little.
Oh, you mean
I
the
assumed that was
top
water.
left corner?
It does look like water on the map, but it is not.
I totally see the slime. It's kind of like oozy.
I can understand it being slime.
I totally get that.
I just assumed it was water first.
Yeah, me
No.
too.
That's fair. Admittedly, I didn't describe the rooms brilliantly, but
Underground
it
cave
is.
assumption that it's water, not slime.
That's
So,
That's fair.
what's his response? I was
Well,
asking
sorry,
him.
what
I was
did you
asking him
ask?
where all this water came from.
Oh, I don't know. It seems to dribble down from other parts of this place. It was quite comfortable, really.
Dribbling out of parts. Okay.
All right, let's carry on.
Yeah, we should probably make a move.
Okay, and as you move into this room, you can basically you have to go down a little descent to the point where the water is about an inch deep, maybe. However, the rest of it seems flat at least. And you're just going to follow. Sorry, what are you doing, Bradbury? You just ask him to move out of the way, or are you asking?
No, I was asking him to lead the way and show us the
Please.
safe route.
Okay. And you guys just following straight behind him?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'll be
Set up-
sticking near top C.
Turvy.
Can you set up your party order then?
Or- yeah, that one.
Set yourselves up in single file for the sake of it.
Okay.
Who's going behind me?
I will. I want to stick with you because you are awesome.
I guess me and Stool will stay towards the back
Uh,
as much as possible.
Thank you for phrasing it that way. All right.
We'll trail along behind as much as possible.
I assume like that then.
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
Sure.
Second time.
Although- yeah.
God
What?
damn. I just
I've only
noticed
just
the
noticed
lighting.
what I've written
Yeah.
at the top.
What's
Uh,
For the
Was where
sake
use was.
of, I couldn't get player view versions of these
Oh,
maps.
right, that thing.
The structure carries on. You go from this first room where you had the fight into another room, very similar to the room you just rested in, but a little bit longer. Again, the walls are pockmarked where some of it, well, you guess these slimes have basically dissolved away at them over time. It looks like at one point these were man-made artificial structures. However, over this long period of time, everything has been pretty much eaten away at. So it's very hard to see now. You just see little bits of evidence of it every so often as you move along. Upon going into that room, Clubber will lead you down another 5-foot wide corridor that keeps going for about 20 seconds before veering right. He then
reveal.
as I said before, I'm purposely not revealing for reasons.
Turns and kills us all with psychic powers.
Because he couldn't get player view maps, so there's going to be
Yeah,
things on there we're not supposed to see, bear in mind.
basically. Yeah.
Oh,
unfortunately.
right. So there'll be like secret
there'll be-
routes
there'll
or
be
things like that.
traps or secret doors or something.
There might be things on there I don't want you to see, basically.
Or random white circles that we spend the next 20 minutes trying to discuss as to what they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he leads you into a room on which you can see the right-hand wall is split into 4 archways, each of which lead into another 5-foot wide corridor each. To the left, it seems like the structure is connected to a natural cavern, and a tunnel leads off into another room. It looks like that is where the water is coming from, and now you're getting closer, you can actually hear the sound of a low volume of rushing water. Like this isn't a waterfall or anything. This is like somebody left a tap on.
Wait, so how many different directions can we go in?
You can go left, or you can go through one of the 4 archways to your right.
God damn it. Okay,
And the water sounds like it's coming from the left.
Can you not actually like draw on top of the darkness?
I can't draw on the fog, but I'll reveal a little bit. Again, I'm doing the fucking...
On OBS?
Yeah.
Good job.
10 out of 10.
Well, no, actually, that time, I had my mouse on map tools, but I was looking at OBS, so it really confused me. Oh my god.
Why isn't it working? Oh, wait, it is.
I'm a scientist, you know. Like, I'm supposed to be a smart person.
You're
Yeah,
a what
so is-
now?
So is
I'm
Laura.
a scientist.
How long has that been the case?
I don't know.
Yeah, so is Laura's a scientist as well, technically.
Technically, I'm a
fair,
master
I'm
of science.
Yeah.
I think everyone
All right,
here
there
is
we go.
technically a scientist.
To be fair, though, I'm a microbiologist, which basically just means I'm a really small gardener. Anyway, into this.
It's
That is
funny
the
because you're
room you
very
can see.
small.
You will now be known
Where's
as the
he at?
Tiny Gardener.
Where is
Well,
Glabagul at?
I mean,
With the
I was
awesome
aiming with
ooze,
it
bro. What?
Whoa!
So yes, this is the room you can see.
Have we just walked into, like, the toilets? The
Yes.
men's room?
I mean, this is
what's
no,
going
this
on
is
with
no
this
more
fucking-
disgusting than the other ones you've been in.
I'll ask him what's in each direction.
No, I don't know. I've never been this far.
Supposed to be leading us out, and he's never been this far.
Yeah, you were taking us on a safe route, but if you've not been this far, then
I thought you wanted me to keep you safe. Apologies, I misunderstood.
if you want to
nothing can get through, but
if you want to stay with us, that's fine. I mean, you've been very helpful so far. So could you take a look down one of the sides for us? After all, your other slime companions won't attack you, but you can have a quick look and see what's down there, and then come back and let us know if it's safe to go that way.
it would help if I knew what you were looking for.
Just if you could have a look and then come back and describe what you see.
Okay.
I mean,
and with that, he kind of at gelatinous cube pace, which is a complete 10 foot every like 3 seconds, so not that quick compared to you guys. He slowly shuffles away, and you can see the first route he takes is down the left corridor, the cavernous tunnel. He travels down that, and you can hear him slopping away as he does so. You can actually see as he goes into the tunnel, like he goes into a room that is temporarily big enough to like fit him in. He then goes into the 5 foot wide corridor, and it really is just a kind of thing. Like it is.
Oh,
It's not a nice not a nice look. What he did. He travels on down it. About 2 minutes later, he comes back, and then he starts making his way through this archway. Makes his way along it. About a minute and a half, maybe, passes, and he comes back. And you see he actually comes out of this corridor.
okay.
He then moves up back to you, kind of stopping momentarily here and here. You kind of get the feeling that, like, just through his telepathic connection with you all, you kind of get the feeling that he's looking down these corridors, although looking is not exactly the best word for it, 'cause that's not...
He doesn't have eyes, yeah.
It's a very alien thing for this creature. It's got a very different kind of sight. However, he does stop, and in your mind, you can hear his report to you. Down that corridor, and you get the sense that he's indicating the cavernous tunnel to your right. There is
No, to the right.
Damn it.
to his right, to the right on the map, so east.
The east.
Yeah,
I was right.
so Michael's, the cavernous tunnel.
I was
Needs
right.
more arrows. Needs more arrows.
You got that?
They're swarming.
I mean, I hear Arrow is a pretty good TV series, personally.
Yeah.
So what does he see?
It used to be. So he tells you that it is a there is a dead end, but there seems to be a hole in the ceiling through which the water is running. It must be recent, since the room itself has no drainage. The other tunnels all connect to each other. However, they end at a strange door or something. I cannot open them. One of you would have to open that.
Are there any other creatures down any of these routes?
2 seconds. I actually just need to check something about gelatinous cubes.
Gelatinous cube, more like gelatinous dude. Am I right? He's great. Yeah.
He's an awesome ooze bro, if you actually look at the description of him.
I saw that.
What is
I mean, he looks distinctly not ooze, is all I'm saying.
He's a brain ooze or something. Like the actual token.
A bruise?
That's a brain ooze, yeah. I've not got a for some reason I've not got a gelatinous cube. I can't believe that, because this has got all my tokens from our Rise the Runelos campaign. And I'm honestly surprised that I didn't have any gelatinous cubes in it. Seems like the kind of thing they'd throw at you. Sorry about this. I'm literally the worst.
It's par for the course of D&D. Don't worry about it.
Right. He tells you, yes, each of those corridors seems to have one of my, some sort of ooze creature beneath it, but I could not see access to them.
But the cavern direction has nothing in it.
It is a dead end. It has a hole, but it is only small.
So
the roof seems strange, however.
okay,
Looks
so
like it
each
was
of these
reshifted.
corridors you say has one of your companions in it, but there's no access to them. What do you mean by
Beneath
that?
it. They are beneath the ground.
How do you know that they're there?
That is how I perceive things. I do not have the strange things that you see through. I just
okay.
see.
So, how
Can
deep
you-
is the
Can you
ground?
not?
How deep is the ground above your companions?
How do you want me to? What am I measuring this in?
I'll basically, like, if you just look at me for a sec, basically what I'm going to do is I'm sort of like,
Measure it in glabagools.
You
like
You
this?
see
This much?
You see an image of Renlund kind of form in your minds, like doing that pose of holding his hands together, and then his arms kind of stretch like a very disturbing image as they allow for Glabbercool to show you about like the hands move to about 10 foot apart.
Okay, that's good to know. I was worried that the ground might be thin and might collapse if we stood on it, but that sounds reasonably safe. Lead the way towards the door then. Let's have a look, and let's have a look at what's inside.
I don't think you'll be able to get past me unless we take separate tunnels. There is very little room between where the tunnels end and the doorway itself.
All right. I tell you what then. You wait here and keep a lookout for us, and let's go ahead and find this door.
Okay. And he does kind of wait there for a few seconds until he realizes that you're kind of standing there expectantly, and he then and backs up a little, allowing you actual access to the tunnels on the left or the west side.
Right, and as he went through this way first, I'll sort of go to this tunnel and have a look, and then
Okay.
Anyone follow me?
Yes.
Just single file line, so.
I'm
So
gonna,
I'm
gonna
just moving along.
very carefully move forwards, step by step.
Roll me a.
Oh dear, I don't like this.
Well, this is
Never like
a.
it when someone says roll.
This is you being careful, right? So, roll me a perception check. Apologies, me mute myself a second.
11. I mean, like, if you guys can see past me, I'm guessing at some point you can do a roll.
Apologies, I still have the lurgy as well.
Fungus is all I'm saying.
And I'm a nervous child.
I would say that the corridor is thin enough that there's not really access for anybody else to give it a good view. If Anwar wanted to, I could say he could do a perception check at disadvantage just because he'd be kind of looking through your legs and such.
Oh, kinky.
Right.
Well, talking about the kinky earlier.
Looking through his legs, not at his legs, guys. Wait.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I know. That came out wrong.
Or maybe it came out exactly how you meant it to.
Anyway, so are you bothering to look, Matt?
I'm just going to be following straight right behind Rendon.
All right. In that case, I'm going to need you to make me a dexterity save, Laurie.
Oh god. $14?
So
That's
bad.
enough. That is
Thank
enough
fuck.
for you to grab the edge of the pit that suddenly opens up beneath you.
This is why I asked how deep the ground was.
I mean, no, you asked how deep his buddies were.
Asked how deep the ground was, where his buddies are.
Yeah,
I literally said how deep the ground is.
Yeah, and he told you how deep his buddies were.
Yeah, it's 10 feet.
Bear in mind, it can be deeper where his buddies are.
Oh no, you fully realise that this is likely where his buddies are as you see what at first appears just to be darkness at the bottom of this pit, like 5 foot below your now dangling feet, and then you see the darkness shift and a slight.
Oh, I'd be
glint
backing
from the
up.
bit of light you guys are using. Well, you're currently hanging on the edge of this pit.
I may not be particularly strong, but I'm going to do anything I can to help him up.
You're for what it's worth on this square. I will say you get a free arcane roll if you want to identify this, Laurie.
Is
Like just upon glance.
Turns out it's a hole.
Is that the pit?
17?
Yes.
That is the pit.
Okay.
17. You recognise this is another ooze creature. You've heard stories of this kind of creature. You don't know much about it, but you know that they're a much more deadly form of ooze, one that you don't particularly want to get in contact with. It is called a black pudding.
Oh no! Oh yeah,
Doesn't
we've
sound very
come
threatening,
across these
apart from,
before.
being
Oh
left
yeah,
right.
well, in our Pathfinder campaign, we came across a black pudding, and it was basically just destroying a forest.
One thing you do
nice.
remember about them, one of the big famous things about them amongst the stories, is that it's said that whenever you hit them, they simply split, and then two will attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Do I know
used
how
to
you can actually
run.
destroy them, though?
You don't from that roll. I will say
Can Turvy check it?
you can't see it.
No, that's alright.
I will say that with Anwar's help, you can have first off, you can do an athletics check to climb up, but with Anwar's help, you can have advantage on that. And you do realise that you probably want to climb up quick, because the thing is starting to shift and
19.
climb up the wall at you. 19. You managed to pull yourself out of the pit with Anwar's help, backing the entire crew. Fuck's sake. 5. I don't know why I can't get my head around that. You managed to pull yourself away from the pit. I will, however, need to grab a black pudding.
Why, you're hungry?
Yes, I was about to make that joke. I was trying to figure out the best way to make
I was
it.
going to make a different joke, but
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's big!
That's quite large.
D&D 5th? That's the Pathfinder
how
version.
that works.
Oh boy.
I think they are that. I think that's the right size though, because they do.
Well, are they large?
God.
The individual one, really.
Also true. Sorry, bear with me.
This is the thing, I bet there's one of these tunnels doesn't have a hole in it. But I don't know which one.
Okay, they're only that big. However, yeah, everything you remember of the tales of these creatures makes you realise that you do not want to fight this thing.
Who named it Bob?
God damn it. Literally 2 seconds, guys.
You can't name it, then you'll get attached to it.
No, you don't want to get attached to it. That's the problem, Mike.
I know, right? I'm saying.
But it
I'm
wants to get
dangerous
attached
all
to you.
around.
So, what are you guys doing? It is
Well,
currently starting to climb up the edge.
I'd be backing up, say, back up, get out of there. You don't want to fight that.
I'm going to follow his instructions and back up.
I'll say, Glabagal, could you block off this corridor?
Okay. And it starts to move up as everybody's starting to move away from there. And he does kind of school. 6.
What?
He does. Just ignore me.
Number of times he's fucked up.
He does move onto the into the corridor and squish into place.
I'll say, okay, right. Try and keep that friend away from us.
Actually, you do notice as he squeezes in, you can actually see through Glabagal, and you can see the kind of ooze kind of just squishing against him, like almost like strange ooze-like sex.
What the fuck?
Interracial.
However, you then realise that it is just the black pudding attempting to get through Glabagal, but not really.
Oh my.
Like their acid doesn't seem to affect each
Oh
other.
my.
Is
Usually
that
have to
what
go
we're
into some
calling it
very
now?
special sites for that kind of stuff.
Damn right. It
I was
was a
about to
lose
say,
action,
if
folks.
you're acidic, then there's some medication for that. I'm just saying.
Right.
If it
So
burns, you should probably go see a doctor.
Exactly, yeah.
Just add some alkaline. It changes their alignment completely.
so basically, the floor basically just sort of collapsed, right?
Mm-hmm. About 5 by 5 part of the floor.
So I'm gonna have a look down this corridor. Now, being aware that the floor itself might fall apart, is there anything I
Roll
can?
perception with advantage.
Oh, 19.
You do realise there is cracks in the floor a bit further down the corridor. Damn it! 7.
Why just minimize OBS, man?
I keep OBS on so I can make sure everything's working right.
It's not gonna.
But Sean,
stop
you're not
working.
working right.
I'm also using OBS for your guys' cameras, so I can kind of look at OBS and towards the camera. I'm still getting used to it, but that is actually a thing I'm trying to do to make it a little better. I don't know why I've unfogged it this much, but you basically know what's down there anyway, so...
We don't know what's in that specific triangle. No.
No, you do.
Okay.
Alright, I'll do the same for this one, looking out for cracks in the floor again.
Roll perception with advantage.
Oh shit. Yeah, it looks fine to me.
This corridor, surprisingly, does look completely empty. Like, you can't see the cracks in this one, so it must be fine, right? I'm going to just unfog this, ignore the giant checkered box.
Yeah.
That's
God damn it.
probably
I'm gonna be remaining by Renlin for the sake of Renlin.
Hey guys, what's this checkered box? Maybe we should walk over it.
Well, I don't see a checkered box. This is the downside about this sort of thing. It's like I have to roleplay Renlin not noticing this. Alright, here we go.
The thing you can do as a DM is put something incredibly dangerous in front of a player and say, you don't see that.
Can I look down this one?
Roll a perception check.
I don't know what my perception is.
Give me 2 seconds. You have a perception
Uh,
of 2.
Oh, that's actually correct. Okay.
You kind of know what you're looking for as well. Like, I'll give you advantage on this as well.
Woo! So, roll the
This is
first
based-
is an 8. Roll the second
Okay,
is
dear.
a 19.
okay, there you
Hooray!
go.
You notice that there is also a checkered box, a trap, almost 8, not quite. They are still in that one corridor. I just need to move it to show this corridor.
Yeah.
There is still there is a loose bit of flooring in this one as well.
Oh god
So
damn
they
it.
were all trapped.
God damn
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Well
Not that we
then.
know this, but they also do connect to each other. Not that we know
Uh,
that.
Glenpool,
No, the
Glenpool told you
bottom
this.
was, the bottom was
Yeah,
in
he
there.
told us
The bottom
that.
one isn't trapped. This one's safe.
Oh yeah, sorry, safe.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
far
yeah,
as we
fine,
know,
fine.
this is completely safe.
It's the only safe one, in fact.
Yeah.
I don't want to fall into a black pudding. I really don't. Right.
That's what you doing, Laurie?
There's no black pudding there.
Seriously,
It's safe.
guys, stop! You're making me hungry.
I mean, I'm still on the lookout.
Food is my trigger, man.
As far as I can tell, there's no trap on the floor, but I'm still on the lookout, very carefully walking along. And then the floor falls down. So what we're rolling for this?
It's another dexterity save. You don't get advantage because you're aware of this, because it's the same logic out of when you're concentrating on looking for one thing and you don't see it. Your concentration is somewhere else. All right.
9.
9.
So, suddenly, what's your strength, Anwar?
My strength?
Yeah, out of curiosity.
Well, you see, my strength is 8.
Yeah, never mind.
It's a very
I was
unusual
you a
question.
dexterity save to help him here, but with a strength of 8, it'd do more harm to you than help to him, I'm afraid. So, suddenly, Renlin just disappears downwards in front of you. Bless you, Alex. And Laurie.
How dead am I?
Yes.
Be honest.
On a scale of 1 to yes, probably.
What are you? You're not wearing any armor, are you?
No.
Okay. So, where's my bag of dice? Where's everything? So prepared. Amazing, DM.
Now, how quickly can I do a bonus action?
On your turn. Fortunately, and this isn't me fudging anything actually, you only take 1 point of acid damage.
Okay, it's a good thing I've still got my temporary HP.
Wait, don't you lose temporary HP in short rest?
No, it's on a long rest you lose it.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a short rest.
No, you keep it in. It's like that's the thing. Like you can refresh it,
Oh,
but that's every time you kill something. You lose it on a long rest.
You take 1 acid damage, and you also take.
Oh, here we go.
This also isn't that terrible. I just forgot something.
This isn't also that terrible. He says he roots around for more dice.
Sorry for the rolling sound dice. You take 2 bludgeoning damage just from the fall.
So, have I fallen on top of one of these things?
You have fallen on top of a black pudding. This is initiative time.
Lovely.
So, yeah, everybody roll the initiatives.
Not bad.
Initiative is Dex, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Same rolls before. Wow, okay.
Renland, Turvey. Okay, cool.
Hey.
So, first off, the black pudding.
Real though.
With its amazing -3 modifier,
Sounds about right.
Wow.
Yeah.
oozes.
Sounds like the kind of initiative I'd have in real life.
With its amazing -3 modifier, 17.
Yeah, I figured as soon as you
Wow.
started laughing, it's like you rolled a nat 20, didn't you?
Yep.
Cheeky shit.
Anwar, what'd you get?
Anwar got 11.
Glabagul, what'd you get? He got 3.
Nice.
Stool, what'd you get?
13.
So you're going second, basically.
Turvey, what'd you get?
Well, with my dramatic increase of +2 initiative, I got 4.
Hmm.
You should get a
Yeah.
+2 and get 2.
I rolled a 2 and have a
Renan?
+2, yes.
17.
You actually go first. Very fortunate.
How am I going to get the fuck out of here?
The walls are climbable. You could do an athletics check on them if you wanted to, or if you have another alternative to get out of there. It is you who goes first, so what are you doing?
Now I have Misty Step. That's to an empty space that I can see, but is it possible that I can Misty Step onto the top edge? Or can I just...
Yeah.
So I could just Misty Step to, like, there?
You can misty step to either side of the pit, basically.
Because you can see them.
It's almost more of you're misty stepping up to the top of the pit and then stepping downwards, like landing on the floor, rather than actually appearing up there.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
in that case my bonus action will be Misty Stepped over there.
Mm-hmm.
How many spells do I actually have?
2.
7.
2, yeah, I've got 2. Okay, so Misty Step over
As soon
there.
as you
I guess high.
appear up there, you do actually hear something. Up to this point, there's been a kind of slopping as the black pudding has been attempting to get through Glabagul. However, that's now stopped.
Oh dear. Don't like the sound of that.
Wait, the sound stops and now you don't like the sound of it.
Well, it's more like the fact that it's gone, oh, okay, I guess I'll just turn around and go the other way. Which means it's going to bump into me.
From the other point, you're saying it's going to bum you.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
I mean,
Black
not
pudding
me.
bumming.
No.
Not what you want.
no.
Not a good time.
You bitch.
Unless you're into that sort of thing, I guess.
Unless you're into that kind of thing.
Who isn't?
Rendered, apparently.
But
Weird.
yeah, assuming that that's exactly what it's going to do, I'm going to try and stealth.
Okay, roll me a stealth check.
Ah, shit. Well, I'm sure it can't hear me, so...
Can it hear?
Yeah, you crouch down and attempt to get to the door without making any noise. You are very aware of the crunching sound as you seem to basically stand on every loose stone out, however. You do get to the door. That'd be your full turn.
That's my full turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got... Well, actually, hang on. I've got an action, haven't I?
No, your action was to stealth.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah, that's my
You're not
turn.
a rogue, you don't get as frame grade or as bonus. Check something.
I like how the black pudding picture makes it look like it's going, damn you, kids!
It's
It's like,
Pudding.
yo!
This one suddenly seems to appear.
Shaking maracas.
Yeah, because it actually came from Tunnel 2, didn't it? Not 3.
Yes, it did.
Oh, look, another one.
That's the one that Renlin just landed on.
Right.
This one climbs out of the pit and makes its way
Oh
this
no,
direction.
I'm so dead. This character's dead.
Don't worry, I'm gonna help.
Fortunately, they do not get to attack this turn.
Fuck me.
What did you even find
Isn't
over
it
there?
still first?
Sorry, you have managed to reach the door as well. Worth mentioning. Like
Oh,
currently, you have 2 black oozes, fairly large things, basically taking up the entire corridors. Like these corridors are entirely just black now, like coming in right on you, and behind you there is a door.
Isn't Stool before me? Stool got 13.
I got
I've
13.
Actually, I didn't organise these at all. I just put Renlin at the top and decided that was good enough.
What's some initiatives? That's probably fine.
DMs,
Like,
tiny
the
DMs.
black puddings even have
Mike.
to go then, or are they actually at the bottom?
No, the black puddings are the important part. Don't worry.
I know.
Stool, what are you doing?
Stool's unaware of anything that's going on, so Stool's going to stick by.
You can hear. You're saying that? No, you can't. Stool doesn't hear things, so yeah, it actually makes sense that he.
Stool's going to stick by Turvy because
That's fine.
why not?
And what are you doing?
Speaking of not hearing things, pump it up and take a shot.
Okay.
I don't know what these things are.
I will say you can also roll. Now you can see them. You can roll a arcane check on this if you want.
Arcane check. I think I know that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I know that thing. I know that thing.
You're going to realise it's perhaps a bad idea to shoot.
I don't know. Am I? Yes, 25.
Oh boy.
You're probably going to realise.
So
You're gonna load your gun and then go, wait, that's a terrible idea.
Like, wait, shit, no.
being a denizen of the Underdark, you are aware of a lot of the creatures that come and go amongst its territories. Black puddings are some of the, not the worst, but definitely some of the nastiest. They are ooze creatures that have the ability to duplicate themselves upon being attacked by certain attacks, specifically slashing attacks and lightning attacks.
So slashing and lightning will cause them to split.
Yes, you also realise that based on your own abilities and the abilities you've seen of these people around you so far, you don't envy your chances against one of these things.
I don't envy my chances.
Wait, what do you even mean by that?
As in, he reckons we're going to die.
Oh.
Basically, you don't think there's a good survival chance against these things unless you manage to.
Unless one of us is actually,
Well,
actually not shit.
basically, fighting should be the plan F here.
Okay.
As in, we are
Plan
all.
A
As in, we should
is-
run first, then we should try running some more, and then we should run some more, and then maybe, possibly, we bear the thought of potentially fighting them.
Then we
I could try
sacrifice a
running
goat to
3 more
Imhotep.
times.
Yeah. First things first.
That's
though,
that's
these
planning.
things are attacking
Yes,
Renoir,
sacrificing
attacking
the
Renlin.
god
I
Imhotep.
can't get to Renlin, but what I can do is try and draw their
Attention.
attention. Yeah, let's go with
Okay.
that. So, pull out thunder cannon, charge up the shot, pump. 8 pumps. Let's
Pump
go with
it
that.
up, dude.
Pump
And
it up.
bang! Like
That's a crit.
Huh? Oh, no, that was
That's
my Arcana roll. I'm making my attack roll now.
Sorry, I've not looked at the computer screen since you made that roll. Excuse me while I just roll their healths.
Oh shit. A sec. I just realised that I haven't actually set any of the stats for Anwar, which I kind of probably should do.
I'm going to
Anwar
die
is owned by Anwar.
so quickly. This is going to be the end of Redland. This is what happens when I try and make like
15.
an evil character. Like, he's not going to last. He's really not.
Cool.
Oh, that's
Ugh. I need to plan B a character.
Yeah, that's easily it.
That's 13.
It's basically
Oh.
and 1 force.
I don't know what
At
it's
this
about
point, for what it's
D&D,
worth,
but every time I try and make a warlock,
these
they
tokens
just die
aren't
so
really
quick.
hugely great for slimes because the actual ooze itself basically takes up every space between here and I would say here. Like basically, it is squished into the corridor. Like it
I'm
is
with you.
basically long-wise instead of round-wise. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry if I wasn't clear on that before. I've forgotten what I rolled for.
Wait, shit. Sorry, no, it's not force damage. It's not force damage. It's thunder damage.
Come on.
Thunder damage.
Yeah. You said lightning damage was the
Did
bad
say
one.
lightning
Yeah.
damage.
It
was
is
bad.
lightning damage, yeah. I just wanted to double check myself, so I couldn't
Okay.
easily get those two confused.
Thunder damage is fine.
Right.
Thunder damage is fine. Thunder damage is what I deal. I need to change that.
And then the second one.
Is the thunder damage?
Huh?
Thunder damage is basically sonic. It's the sound damage in this. It's what Thunderclap does as well.
You're too slow.
Nope.
I was just
That's
thinking
more
for
of
some
an
reason I
accurate
had it in
representation
that
of where these
there's
things
not
are.
both thunder and lightning. There's just one or the other.
But they are very, very
They are
frightening.
There is
different.
lightning damage.
There is.
It's
I think
calm
in
for all
old
the
ver-
slugs that try and
in the old
actually make their
versions,
way
it was
into my
electric
house. I
and
just
sonic, but in
flush
this
them down
it
the
is
toilet.
lightning and thunder, which is weird.
This is
But
probably
that
calmer
seems
for
to just-
that.
That's
I
only
don't
like
mind
to be
being
confusion.
lightning and thunder. My issue is why call it thunder?
Because it's
So
loud.
Lightning,
this-
I can see making
I'm a guess, and this is my theory, is that Wizards basically one of the first spells they thought of for 5th edition, one of the first new spells was Thunderclap, and they said, this is a good spell. I'm going to make a damage about it. Also,
The fuck?
they're probably going to move next turn, but that still works.
Rub it out.
There we go.
Uh,
That's more of an accurate representation of how dead I am.
so,
Not more
yeah, the
distraction.
bullet. How much did you say? It was 11, didn't you?
13 piercing and 1 thunder damage.
All right.
Ooh, 1.
Hey, it's a D6, okay?
Could be who us?
The bullet flies in, and you kind of you hear a as it basically goes into it, and little bits of black acid kind of fly back out, splattering the ground near you. And as they splatter the ground, in a similar fashion to how the Grey Oozers did it, but on a much more serious scale, the ground sizzles and burns. You can actively see a hole forming an inch deep within less than a second, as this acid is incredibly powerful. Although, as a person of intelligence and arcane affinity, you do start to think you could probably make some good stuff with this acid.
I'd love to if I had anything to bottle it up with.
Either way, it is
Just
now
eat it, then you can just like poop it out later.
Turby's turn.
I'm unaware of all of this, apart from the fact that I just saw him take a shot, right?
You definitely
At least
heard
hear
him
it.
take a shot. You can also.
Well, you'd have heard.
I would
There's
say
something going on over there.
they've accidentally kind of soundproofed the area around Renland, so you can't hear any of his screams or anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but we would have
but
heard.
he would have heard
Adwen's
the sizzle.
gunshot.
Yeah,
The gunshot, the
thing,
sizzling,
you
yeah.
definitely heard Anwen's gunshot. I did call that.
Hmm.
Probably
I
something along
guess.
the lines of, I'll help you, Rendon.
I rush down here and be like, oh. Then rush right on back up there and stay there.
That's fair.
I don't know what else to do in this situation.
So what class
Yeah.
should I make then after Renan's death?
I didn't expect you to go to that side of the pit.
Still need.
You gave us the mystery
Oh,
doors, Beanie. What the
I
fuck
know.
was gonna happen?
I know.
The mission door.
Like,
Glabagul.
I basically
What
have
else are they?
one option here, which is I need to open the door and then close it behind
Oh, yeah.
me.
You
It's
fool!
where they-
That whole room is oozes.
The doors
Where they
Um,
keep all of the black oozes. It's black ooze storage.
Glabagul 8, or is that 9? Glabagul backs out, and Anwar, you hear in your head, get behind me, and I will keep them off you.
But what about
That is
Rendon?
Glabagul's turn. Renlin, what you doing?
What about Renan? He's fucked.
Okay, describe this door to me.
The door itself is nothing hugely special.
It's a door.
It is a movable partition between two.
Hey, if it
rooms.
has a gigantic lock
There
in it,
may
I'm
or
basically
may
just going
not
to die.
be.
So
The door itself is it seems to be a stone door. However,
Good start.
you can't really make out any like detail on it. It looks like at one point it was carved and there was probably stuff in it. Like every so often you can see little flecks, but it looks like oozes have basically dissolved away at this as well. So much so that at certain points it is very deep into it. You can actually see it's probably about half a foot wide, and at some points the oozes have dissolved into it to maybe leave half an inch of actual door still in that position. There's no lock or any mechanism like that. It just looks like you could push it open if you wanted to.
I shall do so.
Okay, you push it open, and the room you see beyond. This room contains a stone fountain with a raised edge. Basin contains shallow, brackish water. And at the centre of the pool, the rubble of a broken statue rests atop a pedestal. All that remains recognisable are a pair of clawed stone feet clutching the pedestal's top. And you can see that water is seeping into the room, into the fountain from cracks in the wall and the roof above.
Let me guess, you're not going to reveal it because there's something in here I'm probably going to step
no,
on.
I will reveal it. I was just reading the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
This
he's
is a dead end, you're
It's
pretty much
running
sure.
circles.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it is a dead end, but at least I'm hoping I can
It
shut
is
the door.
unfortunately a dead end.
Well, put it this way, at least I'm not as dead as I was a second ago.
All right.
I don't know. You seem pretty dead based on the size of this room.
Yeah.
You do. So you move into the room and immediately turn around and throw yourself against the door, kind of
Yes.
blocking it shut. For what it's worth, the door itself is quite well made and does tightly fit into the gaps. You don't think the oozes will be able to get through the cracks from what you've seen of them so far. Like, the oozes are malleable, but there does seem to be a limit on how malleable, dependent on their original size.
Alright, and I hold the door shut, and I call for help. Not that anyone can hear me, but I don't know that.
Hodor?
Oh no.
Hodor?
Yeah, I know, right?
Hodor?
Could everybody else make me a perception check?
That
This
entirely
is to see
depends.
how fucked I am.
yeah,
Oh
sure,
no,
so-
that doesn't need to be made. That's an automatic thing.
I accidentally rolled twice, but you can see what my first one is.
Yep. This actually, unfortunately, wouldn't be relevant for stool. Just
Why
due
wouldn't
to
it?
because you can't hear.
I can hear.
My
He doesn't have death written on him, so
because the way to communicate, the way I understood it anyway, was
I basically just have to hide in this
ability.
room
You can't
and
speak.
hope that everyone else can win
Well,
the
there's
fight
nothing to
for
say
me,
you
because
can't hear.
otherwise I'm just screwed. Here's the thing, I don't even know how strong oozes are, so as far as I
No,
know,
you're
they're just
no,
going
you're
to push the
alphabetically-
door open. I'm just going to get
Also,
consumed
is,
by acidic blobs, so...
Is Turvey's keen senses going to do anything with this? Wait, he hasn't got.
It
He
will
does.
give an
Keen,
advantage on this.
keen smell, specifically.
someone setting off fireworks.
They do that.
Doesn't surprise me.
They've been doing it for weeks, to be fair.
They need any reason.
To be fair, I did find out yesterday was, or last night I should
Diwali.
say, was Diwali.
Diwali, yeah.
Diwali, however you say
Yes,
it.
it's the Diwali of the
Diwali.
weekend, isn't it?
And
Pretty
what
certain
is
it's
that?
RV sound, isn't it? It's Indian Festival of Light or something.
Hindu festival
Hindu,
of light, yeah.
It
Yeah, I
doesn't
was going to say, 'cause
otherwise.
I thought it was a bit odd that there was some people like lighting off some fireworks the other day, and I was like,
Jesus,
The weird
Okay.
thing is, it was like pouring it down with rain at the time.
Doesn't say otherwise, so we'll say that you can hear. So yeah, that's fine.
But
So
yeah, my keen sense is actually
Sorry,
specifically keen smell.
what did you say there?
yeah, in that case, we'll say that you're fine because it doesn't say in the book you can't hear. So yeah, you
say
can.
it doesn't say you're afflicted by the
Yeah.
death.
It was
death
just in
so-
my head. I think I had a different kind of view of how Myconid works.
So
Either
I
way,
can't.
it's fine.
Actually, I can see. It's not blind since I have.
You've got eyes. Like it's just a picture of Myconids. Like Give me a sec. I will show you.
I always
what
see
Myconids looks like.
Myconids as kind of like those Mario mushrooms, but with feet. So like they've got 2 little eyes.
Admittedly, yeah. actually,
Mike has
think about
died.
it.
Oh, wait, no, there
Mike's
he's back.
fine.
Like he froze for a second there. Then
If you
let's get
think
that.
of Toad from Mario, he also doesn't have ears, so technically should be able to. But yeah, don't know if you guys will be able to see this. It's actually quite a nice picture of the Myconids.
Yeah, I have seen them before. Like I appreciate you can't
Can you
really
raise it up
see
a bit?
ears or anything like that. But
There's no
Higher?
ears or like anything.
More.
It's the one on the right
Okay.
or the left. But yeah. Either way, we'll say they can hear for the sake of these. So yes, everybody except for already forgotten. Turvy. Everybody
Yeah.
except for Turvy hears a sounds like somebody muttering from seemingly the corridor that leads to a watery dead end.
as in the one the oozes are down, just to remind me.
No, as in down
The
this
one we've not been down, right?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. I wonder if it's like a teleportation thing. Yeah, whose go is it?
I didn't hear it, so.
It's the Black Puddings. They flail mindlessly at the stone door. Everybody can kind of Renan, you can kind of hear a sizzling noise.
Yeah, I think I already know what that is, so I'm just going to continue panicking.
Stool. Doing anything?
Stool's gonna stick near.
Turvy.
Thank
If
you.
you
I want to
remember,
say Turvy this time.
If you remember, Glabagul said to stay behind him and he'll keep you safe, so that may affect what you decide to do.
I mean, not really. This is Stool. He
We're
doesn't
pretty safe
know
over here.
Glabagul, so.
Also true.
We're pretty safe over here, in fact. So you know.
And also, yeah, to be fair, I am already behind him,
Yeah.
depending on what you consider behind.
Anwar?
Anwar isn't worried about keeping Anwar safe. Anwar is worried about the fact that Renlund is currently being beset by black puddings. So Anwar is going to ignore the heroic gesture from Glabagul, and he's going to take another booming shot at the black pudding.
Okay. Roll your attack.
Booming shot.
One sec. Hopefully he's not going to miss. 16 for 9 piercing damage and 2 thunder damage.
There is another as the bullet sinks into the creature and seems to affect it.
You know what? Affecting it a little bit is better than not affecting it at all. So anything I can do to help.
That's true. Turvy doing anything?
No. Like I don't know what I could do here.
That's fine. Glabagul is. He holds off for now. He's not gonna do anything. Renan, what are you doing? You just holding the door shut?
I'm gonna hold the door shut, but I'm gonna sort of like put my back against it, so that I can actually like push against it. But also have a look at this room again.
Make a perception check.
5.
This is relevant to the door, not the room. All right, and then you're looking into the room itself.
Yeah.
Make a perception check.
21. That's a much better roll.
You see glinting coming from the waters in the fountain.
Something fountain is magical. Fountains are always magical in this game.
Something shiny is in the fountain.
Oh boy, you're gonna die, but at least you'll die rich with the money from this wishing well.
The puddings. There is
Well, hang on. You said glinting. Like, can I assess anything from this, or is it just that's it?
From your
glinting?
position, from the position where you're standing, bearing in mind that what light source are you? You've got dark vision, haven't you?
Mhm.
You got dark vision?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not so much glinting you see actually. You actually do make out beneath the waters there is the strange rough shapes that don't seem to be like a manufactured on an artificial bottom. Instead, it kind of looks like this. Like it reminds you of the kind of fountain that people would throw coins in. Like it looks like the bottom of a kind
Oh,
of
for
wishing
fuck's sake,
I
don't
was
say
gonna say-
that, because now I want to see if there's money in there.
I thought you were going to say the bottom of it. It doesn't look like an artificial bottom, almost like it's an ooze. More specifically, a black pudding.
the puddings. There is a sudden Renan, you can still hear sizzling noise, and then there is a and everybody on the other side, or sorry, Anwen on the other side, you can hear that, but in a much more muffled sense. You can't quite see what's happening. However, the black pudding in front of you, then suddenly starts to move towards you, and then down back into its pit.
Oh,
Suddenly, on your end, Brendan, all the weight that was on the door behind you fades. Like you realise that you're holding it shut against nothing.
Oh, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop holding it shut.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know.
So which one of these has now gone?
Well, you don't know.
Well, yeah, I know I don't, but just for the sake of everybody else, are they all gone?
Yep. Well, for the sake of everybody else, Amon couldn't see that one on the left, and the one on the right, the one that he could see, has gone.
I'm happy just
wait,
being in the
has it
goody
vanished
goody
down the
free
hole
zone.
completely?
Sorry?
Has it vanished down the hole completely?
It's gone down the hole completely, and as you kind of just peek a look over the top, you can see that it's basically flattened against the bottom, taking up its bottom part of the pit again.
Okay.
And I will say, actually, no, not from where you're stood, unfortunately.
What were you going to say?
However, this is combat over effectively.
So it's basically, if I shot down, I wouldn't be. Nothing would happen if I shot straight down into the hole.
If you shot down into the hole, you could shoot the creature if you wanted to.
Don't start the combat again.
Yeah, no, I think.
I was going to say I've Deus Ex Machina'd you, which is something I hate doing in
Deus
when
Ex.
DMing. So do not start the fight again.
I start the fight again. No.
Or at least if you do, don't blame me for this party being wiped. At least you got another party else.
No. You don't understand. We wait for Endman to get out of there, and then we start the party again. The party again.
Again.
The combat again.
I mean, you're the one that wants to start the
Stop.
combat again. Anyway, this seems like a good place to
Party.
take a quick break, especially since I'm desperate for the loo.
Yeah.
So I will be
That's
right
not
back in 5 minutes or so.
I'll be right back as well.
Hi.
Alright.
Right then.
I'm gonna just disappear myself to go to the loo. Where's AFK?
I'll just mute myself.
So BRBs.
Yeah, we'll be right back in a minute, guys.
stopping the screwing and getting back to the action? Because that seems like screwing is the action.
All right, let's
We're
go.
stopping the anime screwing.
We've discussed
So-
this. It's a different type of dungeon.
Unfortunately. So,
I agree.
the combat seems to be over, although there's no obvious reason as to why. For now, Anwen and the folks on that side of the doorway, what are you doing?
I find a stick and I start drawing in the ground dirt.
Anything
nothing.
particular?
No, just doodling.
Um,
I really don't know what to do here.
Fair enough.
is
What are
there-
my options? They are
how big
run
is the
up on my
hole?
own.
The hole is 5 by 5.
5x5. How difficult is it to jump 5 feet?
Sorry?
How difficult is it to jump 5 feet?
Not hugely difficult. It's an acrobatics. No, it's an athletics check. Sorry. I don't have a DM screen, so 2 seconds. Don't have the. It doesn't have the DCs like it. I would say it'd probably be about. For a small creature like you, it'd probably be a medium difficulty, so about DC 15.
DC 15 to jump that hole.
Yes.
Right, okay, so I'm not jumping that
Yeah.
hole.
You could try.
Where did
Do
you
a
say
flip.
acrobatics or athletics?
Do it.
Athletics.
Yeah, I'm not
Jumping
jumping
is
that
strength
hole.
based.
Can
I
you
maintain.
use acrobatics and do a flip?
Do a flip.
No, you
Um,
cannot.
Why don't you want us having fun, meaning?
Because I want to kill you all with horrible black puddings.
I mean, you have the opportunity to do that right now, and then chose not to.
So, as Anwin, as you're kind of judging this in your mind, Renlin, what are you doing?
Well, having felt that the pressure against the doors sort of backed off a bit, I just sort of take my hands up, the door doesn't seem to be pushing my way, so okay, so I'm guessing they're backed away from the door, but I want to try and be as quiet as I can, because I don't know how smart they are. So for all I know, they're actually just literally sitting on the other side of the door, just waiting. So I'm gonna try and stealth and have a look around the room and see if I can find a way out, or just find anything that may be of use.
Roll stealth.
Lovely. 8.
And roll perception.
Going well.
Roll investigation.
Investigation. 20.
Looking around the room, well, the first thing that Renlin notices, as a character after Laurie's heart, is
Money.
that beneath the dark waters of the fountain is a decent amount of silver pieces, a fair few gold pieces, 3 bracelets of shiny metals, although you can't quite make out the colours and stuff with dark vision and the water in the way. A very nice looking dagger with a spider design on the hilt, and 2 vials, seemingly corked and stopped in a way that would make them waterproof. Although
This is useless. There's
it's
no
hard to
electrical
tell.
pieces.
Well, I'm gonna start
Sorry.
taking the dagger first. Then I'll take the 2 vials, then the bracelets. Then I'll start picking up coins and just. I'd sort of
fool,
picking up
you
some coins
activated
and also
his
sort of
trap.
glancing around and seeing is there anything else around here?
As you reach your hands into the water, I'm going to need a Constitution save.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
18.
Just walked right into that one.
Look, okay, look,
Somewhat
right.
literally.
I have to roleplay this character, and also it's really easy to do
No,
because
no,
if
I
that was
get
me,
that.
I would have
But
put
it's
my
like-
hands in the water as well. So
No, I get that. It's just of course it's trapped. Why wouldn't it be trapped?
You managed.
what?
So I thought there was somebody in my house. Never mind, just my neighbours. Sound like somebody was walking up the stairs. You managed
You
to
wanna go
resist. I mean, I don't think it was. I'm gonna just be right back, actually, just
Yeah.
to double check. I'm paranoid.
That's fair.
Goodies.
I mean,
Probably not.
obviously don't say it, but do any of you actually have Beanie's address just in case?
No, I do not.
I'm
So
told
if-
it's what,
If
Matt
Beanie
really-
never comes back, then yeah, we've got a problem here.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
You've got no idea. Do you have his parents' number?
He's not back yet. I think he's dead.
Yes. So I
You
think.
do. It's
Ah,
fine. He's
yeah,
back.
he's alive.
Just remember, guys, we're not paying the kidnappers.
Oh,
Wait,
don't
wait.
worry. It's not kidnapping. They're just burgling me. They're currently ransacking my bedroom. They said they'd
Hey.
get to this room about an hour from now. I have a lot
We
of
told
stuff.
them specifically no burgling. Can't trust anyone. these days.
Oh wait, that's what we were going for. Shit, sorry, my bad.
Oh, God damn it, Phil.
I thought, you know what, sell it on. We get a bit of extra dosh back off them.
Apologies. My neighbour's being very loud and hearing out the corner of my ear. It just kind of sounded like it was people on the stairs.
No,
Doors
not
locked though,
really.
so. Bleh.
Right,
Anyway.
so 18 on the con save.
Help.
So,
Actually,
You-
let's do the con save. I forgot about the con save.
you manage to resist the urge to scream as the water touches your blistered arms. Beyond that, it's fine. You manage to reach in and take
Blistered
the dagger.
arms.
You've been affected by this acid. I told you this at the start of the game. Like, you were attacked by the grey oozes, and the same reason that Anran had to make the
Oh.
Constitution save earlier when he poured water on his arm.
Okay. But I've got the dagger, so I can pocket the dagger.
You take it out. Roll me an arcane check.
14.
You recognise that this is actually a minor magical item. It is a +1 dagger.
Hmm.
And you can tell it is of drow design with the spider hilt.
It's
The
not
blade
talking
curves
to
a
you.
little bit as well, almost looking like a spider's fang.
Nice. So that's the +1 increases the damage and attack by 1. Is that right?
Yes. It also magic also helps against certain resistances.
Yeah.
It's quite important for that. For what it's worth.
So I'm going to take a while to guess that we all heard this scream.
No, he resisted the urge
Yeah,
to.
he
Oh,
managed to
right,
come
it
back.
was the urge, right? Yeah.
I should have known, asking Laurie to make a Constitution save on this character. You also
I
see
don't-
the pedo behind you with a.
Oh,
No, you don't.
seeing a pedo behind
I
you.
thought you
just
actually
worse.
said you actually see a pedo behind you. It's like, what?
Is it better for them to be behind or?
Question: would casting Longstrider help with the jump at all?
I was going to go elsewhere. Long stride, I would say, would give you advantage on the roll. Unless it says otherwise in the actual.
There is a specific spell that says it's called
There is
jump.
jump the
There is
spell.
jump, but Longstrider increases my movement speed.
As long as you had a decent
Mechanically.
route towards it, which I would say the 20 foot that you have is.
You only need 10 feet for a run up.
Yes, but if I'm actually giving him advantage due to like a decent speed, I would say he needs the 20 foot. Like,
Cool.
having the 10 foot run up is normally enough to say that you don't get disadvantage on the roll. But if you're actively like using long strides to build up your speed beforehand, then I would say you need a little more room. Either way, you've got that 20 feet. It's irrelevant.
Cool.
Just double checking there's actually not anything specific in this about jumping. No, there isn't.
Cool.
Okay, so
In that case,
do I have my other arm that isn't covered in blisters?
Hold off while you're investigating that dagger. Anwen, roll your.
I'm going to regret this massively, but I kind of need to go help Remlin because Remlin's been, well, last time I saw, he was being attacked by two oozes, and one of them I didn't see what happened.
You
to.
can only see the one. Although I suppose you could actually justify that you know the second one as well. Never mind.
Oh shit, 11.
Oh dear.
So, as you leap, you take the full run up. You leap off the edge, fly through the air, and just are not getting the distance you thought you were. Make me a dexterity save to see if you can grab the edge of the pit on the far side.
Dex save.
Do not fail this roll.
Otherwise, you fall into the black pudding hole.
12.
That is enough for you to. You basically land your breast slamming against the edge of the pit, your arms grabbing onto the top, and pull yourself up there. You're going to have to now make an athletics check to pull yourself out of the pit.
Don't fail this either.
18.
You do manage to pull your way into it and pull your dense, heavy form over the lip.
He's
and
calling you
crawl
fat.
to the side. He's actually surprisingly not fat. He's just very heavy.
You called him dense and heavy. That's fat.
Dense doesn't mean fat.
Yeah,
you
you
also
Could
said
be
heavy.
muscle-bound.
it
dense
just means
and
he's
heavy.
really dumb.
Adding dense, adding dense to the heavy actually, suggests that he's actually quite thin. He's just very heavy for that.
Yeah.
He's literally big
After all,
boned.
muscle weighs more than fat does.
Also, stone.
Said every really fat guy ever.
Yeah.
Muscle weighs more
It's
than
all muscle, I
stone,
swear.
You know?
I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
I'm big boned.
Kingpin, just saying.
I'm not saying there are some people who aren't just really muscular, but the only people who actually make a point of telling you that muscle is heavier than fat are the people who are really fat and in denial about it.
Technically true.
The only people. I know
So
that because I've said that before.
Renlin, you've managed to crawl onto your belly and clear the pit.
Oh, have
You're
I?
now on the other side of it.
I'm going to rush to Anwar to Rendan's rescue.
Okay. As you go to the door, you can see, now that it's in sight, you can see that it is very pockmarked where ooze have dissolved against it. And you can also see some runes seemingly fading. It
Some
looks like
runes?
the runes on it, arcane runes of some sort, across the entirety of the door. You can see that they were, they were probably glowing quite a bit at some point. As you can see that now they're kind of fading. You've got appeared just in time to see the last of them as they fade away.
Okay, so there's no way for me to be able to tell what they were.
No, you can, looking at the door, you can actually see that the carvings, like the little bit of like sculptured carving on the door you can see, seem to line up with what you can see of the runes, but the pot marks and the dissolved seems to have destroyed their physical being for the most part. So you don't
Okay.
think you'd be able to, not without recreating them in somehow. And you only got a short look at them.
I really hope that Rendan is behind the door and wasn't dissolved hair in this very spot. I'm going to open the door.
Renlin, you hear the door squeaking open behind you.
I sort of panic and quickly turn around.
And what's your past perception? So you look into the room and kind of hunch low to the ground in an attempt at hiding. Is Renlin.
I'm not trying to hide. I just panicked and turned around.
You were stealthed when you were doing things, so I assumed you were still stealthed.
Oh, well, I'm going to go with the fact that because of how much I actually hurt my arm, I kind of was a bit distracted. Because apparently I almost screamed out in pain, so yeah.
In that case, standing by a fountain in the centre of the room is Renlin, seemingly distracted by a shiny ebony black dagger that he is currently holding.
Yeah, you're
Although he
okay.
is now looking in your direction.
Oh, hey, could you help me get some of the stuff out of this this fountain? There's some interesting loot in here.
Can do. Walk over to the fountain.
Now, how
Okay.
blistered are both my arms and his arms?
Both of you are fairly blistered arms. Like, without some actual magical healing, both of you were injured in the fight of the Grey Oozers quite severely. And so both of you have blisters, like blistered and burnt arms.
Right, I've got
Bless you, Phil.
in my possession, in my adventurers pack, stuff including rope and also bedroll, stuff like that. A water skin, torch skin. Okay, there's nothing in there that I'd be able to jerry rig up a what's it called? Thing when they run across the bottom of the water.
Oh, my map tools crashed. Sorry.
It's alright.
I'll have to rejoin probably.
That's fine. I'll kick you out.
I can't remember the word for what I'm thinking of, but one of those things that they use to sort of
A dredger. I would say make me an intelligence check with proficiency.
We're currently at
You'll also have to put me on the right page.
You can actually do that in the top right, If you go to select map.
He doesn't
Again?
necessarily know what the map name is, so
Oh.
admittedly.
Well, it's ooze
It's
something.
Temple of Ooze.
6.
Using temple.
You look at your backpack and momentarily forget that you're an inventor and just kind of stand there staring at it. Like, for what it's worth, that is very much something that I would encourage you to do, is try to make things to solve a solution, because that's cool in my mind. But yeah, and that one, unfortunately, is not going to get you it.
Yeah.
Your mind just goes blank for a second, and you have a dumb moment.
My mind goes blank. Wait. I have an alternative solution.
Oh?
I'm going to hope that this works. Please let this work. I'm going to cast another spell on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cast Shield of Faith
Right.
with the hope that it will protect me as I try to help you get this stuff. Because you want my help getting this stuff, and by God, I'm going to help get your stuff.
You focus your magical energies, and kind of move to touch your right arm, and you see, like, dragging your right arm across your left, you kind of bring into form a shimmering shield. You then look at the water and look at the shield on your arm.
Well, it does say Shield of Faith, so I'm going to have faith it'll work. I'm going to lower my hand into the water.
Like how you started with plunge and then change it to.
Yeah, I have faith, but I'm not stupid.
For what it's worth, just so you can picture it right, like the way Shield of Faith works is, it, at least the way I always thought it did, is it basically forms an actual shield that kind of you don't need to wield. It just kind of sits in front of your left arm, like in place of where a normal shield would be. So you've got a shield now. Plunge your right hand in. Is that right?
I was thinking. I thought I've had in my mind for some reason, like
You're thinking like mage armor, where it's like an aura around you.
Yeah, but it's like I don't suppose I can use the shield. I don't suppose I can use the shield as a shovel, can I?
That's a point, actually.
Roll a.
I do have Armor of Shadows, like, over my skin, bear in mind. So did that not have any...
You do?
Yeah.
It had about as much effect as leather armor would. It's still water seeping through it. It's not gonna... It doesn't...
So the magical shield has
can...
water seeping through it?
The same way that you can breathe, like, through it, it doesn't block everything. The same way that swords and stuff can get through it. It's not an impenetrable force field, unfortunately. For what it's worth, Matt, you kind of look at this shield, go to plunge your hand, and then shake your head, reach over, grab it, and start plunging it in to try and scoop stuff out.
Can we just appreciate for a
I have
moment?
no idea if this will actually work.
Plunge.
I mean...
Well, I'd plunge you, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
You roll a dexterity. Just plain dexterity.
$20.
You move the shield in and start shoveling. After a second, you bring it back up, and there's about 20 coins on the end of it. They're a mix of gold and silver, mostly silver.
Cool.
Oh, well done. Could you try and get those
there's still
bracelets
plenty
and those magical tubes in there?
Magical.
I've literally having a brain
Vials.
fart. The vials. There we go. I completely forgot what you call them.
Bottles was probably what you want.
Yeah.
Are you basically going to spend some time scooping in and getting what you can out?
Yes, until the spell fizzles out, which will take. I'm just going to quickly get the
3 minutes, I'm going to guess.
I've got no idea, and I think that's probably also fizzled out the long strider.
Yes, it has.
Concentration up to 10 minutes.
Up to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is more
A
than enough time.
shimmering field appears and surrounds a creature of your choice.
Alright, never mind. It is basically mage armor, just the cleric version. I prefer mine for the visual.
So I don't know if that's actually going to work even.
For the sake of convenience and the fact that we've already done this with my misguided thought process, and it's working for you guys, so I don't feel like I'm screwing you, I'm going to say it's still a shield. And for the next 10 minutes, you're able to scoop out what remains of the treasure inside, with the exception of the vials, of which I'm going to need a dexterity check for each, bearing in mind they're fragile. So,
Yep, I'm going to hopefully not smash them to pieces.
basically.
Here we go.
18.
Oh, good.
8.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Did you go for 1 or 2 first?
Yes.
Good answer.
Just say 1 or 2. I know there's no logic between you, but this is just so that I'm randomizing it. You go for 2 first. All right. So you bring 1 out, and it is a long vial, inside which there seems to be a slick black oil substance.
Can I acknowledge that while he's getting at these things?
Yep, roll an Arcana. The second one, you kind of go in, you dig your shield in and attempt to get it underneath it. However, you don't quite see in time that you manage to catch it at a bad angle, and you basically crush it between your shield and the wall, unfortunately, and it does split, and you see a reddish, pinkish liquid kind of swirl around as it empties from the vial and into the waters of the
There goes the healing potion.
I'm sorry, Redmond.
I go. I just go. And then I got a 9. So do I actually not know what this is?
You don't recognise what it is. Yeah, you don't recognise what it is.
I'll say. Well, at least you got this one. Do you know what that is?
Do I know what it is?
Roll an Arcana. I believe you actually have some affinity with like identification. I'm not sure how artificers work with that.
Potion.
I have shield. No, I have identify and detect magic as
Rituals. That's right. So you need to
Is
spend
this
time
the
to do that.
potion you're talking about, though?
Yes.
Anyone can identify potions by having a small sip.
That is also true.
I believe it's generally considered it's not enough to even do any of its effect for what it's worth.
It's not.
Though I don't know how that works if it was, say,
Although,
poison.
for the sake of entertaining myself, I will always have like a bit of flavour with it in regards
No,
as it will
that's
have
fair.
a little bit of effect, but
Well, in fairness, that's exactly
I
how you
think
tell what it is.
generally
The
have-
flavour.
Generally, you would probably have a very, very minor effect, and also you kind of go, "Oh, that's what it does."
no mechanical effects. But I will.
Yeah, like
I will have
Either
fun.
way, what'd you get,
Burst
Matt?
bursts into flames.
The idea is if it's something that
What'd you get, Matt?
Good example.
Oh right. 7
7. You also do not recognise what it is.
What
oil.
what can we say about the bracelets? Do we know if they're magical or not?
Bracelets are non-magical.
And there's 2, yeah.
There is 3. They are green and gold.
Roll.
They're both okay.
And a quick look at them suggests they're probably worth about 25 gold each.
I'll give 1 to Matt and I'll keep 1 myself.
There's 3.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Did we try to
know
make
what?
us forget about that already?
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna keep 1 for somebody. I thought, you know what? They've not really helped at all. I'll keep 2 for myself, and then I'll give 1 to Anwar.
I'll have you know what I'm doing right now is incredibly important.
Doodle doodle doodle.
Masturbating does not count, Mike.
Says you.
Doodle doodle doodle.
I mean, yes, I did in fact just say that.
For what it's worth,
Can't tell me what to do.
turning the story towards Turvey's expeditions, after about 5 or 6 minutes of doodling in the ground, you realise for this entire 5 and 6 minutes, just like there has been in this entire dungeon so far, the water's been covered by about an inch of water. So your doodles have been nothing.
But
I had
how
forgotten
else am
about
I going
that.
to tell people that Stool is the greatest and he's so handsome?
Unfortunately, it can't be seen. It can't be shown.
Chisel it into the
It can't be
walls.
told.
Stool's just enjoying the water. He's going to
Paddle,
drink it
paddle.
up through his feet or however he does that. I don't know.
Yes.
He's a mushroom man. I assume he just drinks it through his skin.
He just kind of lowers onto it, and he does just kind of absorb a bit of water. It's not the tastiest of water, but it's
Water.
It's water.
Yeah, I'll say to Anwar that I'd like him to keep the money as a thank you for saving me.
In that case, the money
Commission for
that
much
Manuel
appreciated.
gets
was commission for your lovely portrait.
112 silver and 41 gold.
112.
Yeah, because as far as Renlund knows, like he actually fought them off. So yeah,
Hmm.
you know, got to keep
So,
the bracelets for himself. After all, they look very nice.
for what it's worth, considering that Renland's attention was probably immediately distracted by the treasures, I kind of halted your investigation check there, and just so the investigation check you made before was just on the treasure and not on the whole room. Just FYI.
Okay, so now I've got that. I guess I'll do another investigation check to have a look around the room, see if there's anything else.
Okay, roll me investigation.
I will walk in like the other way around.
10.
You know, like if he's walking around clockwise, I'll walk around anti-clockwise.
Okay, roll an investigation then.
Oh, well, I hope you
So-
find something.
Renlund, you don't really see anything unusual about the room. Anwar, you notice there's a lot of cracks and holes in the wall. At first, it just looks like the pot marks of the rest of the dungeon that you've been going through. Have you started to notice that these holes and stuff, they seem a little more natural as opposed to the artificial dissolving from the users? And you actually start to realize that the wall and the parts of the wall in this room have actually been made up of actual parts of the carved wall itself have eroded and disappeared over time. And there is actually the rock wall behind it, the actual natural Underdark rock wall, which seems to be able to be made up by falling rubble and such. So much so that you could probably, if you wanted to, disturb the wall, like you'd need either somebody fairly strong or some way to move it, like an explosion or some acid or something.
So what you're saying is we need to go and fetch Glabagool?
Well,
Labagul might be able to do it.
want explosions? I mean, if only there was a caster in the room with you.
You do
If
realize
only.
that the acid would be the slow choice here. Like you'd be dissolving it over the course of, depending how far it is to the other side, it could be a while.
I mean, I could just Eldritch Blast the thing.
For what it's worth, Eldritch Blast.
It's
You know,
force
I keep
damage.
thinking You're
Its
going to be
force
saying
is a
Eldith.
bit,
It
and it is a
depends on
cantrip, so you could keep at it, but it would be.
I guess it depends on whether you've got the one that pushes stuff back, because otherwise it's just going to hit them.
Well, it'd crack the rock bit by bit, but you think it'd take a bit more than.
I don't have
Eldritch
Repelling
Blast.
Blast yet, if that's what you mean.
I have high-powered... I've got ammunition.
Do you actually mention the cracks to me at all?
But yeah, I probably would have. This might be a way out.
Can I knowledge check our kind of orientation here and think, well, if we just put a hole in the wall, is that going to take us back to where we were before?
Roll survival.
Is there water seeping in through this hole at all?
16.
No, but there are similar holes on the ceiling and walls around. The ones on the ceiling are dripping water into the fountain, it would seem. More by coincidence than design, you guess, and a couple ones from the wall are dripping into the room. However, this one is not.
Cool.
What do I figure out with 16 on survival?
Looking at it, you realise that it would basically take you in 10 this direction. You think it would bypass other parts of this dungeon, although you're not brilliant in like subterranean areas. You can't remember quite how tight some of the turns you took were, so
I'm gonna
it'll lead.
I'm gonna figure from that it's probably just gonna either take us into like the number 2 area, or it's just gonna take us in the same direction that the other corridor is. So I was like, I'll just leave it. It's just gonna take us back into one of the other rooms.
What it's worth is you could carve it at an upwards angle if you wanted to, or even at a downwards angle. Like It's not necessarily it doesn't necessarily have to be horizontal as far as you can tell.
Yeah, but based on the description we got earlier, the other hole is basically just going to lead us up. Like if you remember down the other thing. So as far as Renan is concerned, that he doesn't think it's really worth the time. Like we'll just take the other route.
In that case,
he's no expert at this thing.
You're both going to head back to the rest of the party?
Well, I'm going to head to about here, and then I'm going to Misty Step across, because fuck that, I am not taking the chances.
Brendan?
No, well, okay, before I actually go, like, I'll be heading out, I was like, yeah?
Could you do me a favour and hold on to this for me, and I'm going to throw him one end of some rope.
Okay.
I see what you mean.
Throwing empty rope across across 5 feet with enough weight that it lands on the other side and doesn't fall is going to require a.
What if he's doing this as I walk out?
Check.
You doing this as I walk out?
So
otherwise you can just pass it to me.
I was assuming he did this as you're on the other side, like
because I wouldn't.
You just kind of casually Misty stepped over, so.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen you Misty Step before, but I didn't know that you're going to Misty Step again.
It was kind of especially how long it took Anwar to react, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I just casually did it. I didn't tell him I was going to. So I sort of looked at it and went,
Somebody is deleting my fine work.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, ruined.
They didn't notice the other bit. It's fine.
You ruined my amazing maps and.
I'm going to try and throw across one end of the rope.
It's a strength check. It'd be hard to fuck this one up,
dear.
but it is possible to fuck it up.
Oh boy, 1.
Jeez.
You fucked it up.
You grab the rope and kind of loop about 10 foot of it to try and throw across the other side. And it goes about 4 foot. A bit of it lands on the other side, and then it all just kind of drops. And you hear as the hemp sizzles
Not
away.
a very long rope now, is it?
You pull it back up, and you realise you've lost about 5 feet of the end of that rope.
So I now have 45 feet of hemp rope.
Yes.
I'm going to try and tie something to one end of the rope. Well, no, it's rope. It's kind of difficult to tie it up. I'm just going to try and throw it again.
Roll a strength check.
6.
That is enough.
Yay.
God.
You chuck it across, and about 2 feet of it lands on the other end, just long enough as it starts sliding towards the pit again for Renan to reach down and grab it with a bit of rush.
Now, is there anything over there that you can secure it to?
I'll just sort of back over and say to Turvey, "Hey, Turvey, come over here."
Don't secure it to Turvey.
I'll say, "Hey, help me hold this." And I'll like give him some of the rope, and then it's like, "Okay, right."
Hold this. Hold what?
This is the Black Pudding's favourite kind of deal. 2 Sverfneblin for the price of 1.
Right, so
I'm now holding a rope. I'm confused at the fact that I'm holding a rope.
And you using
tight.
the wall itself as kind of a corner brace as well. This does actually this tenses the rope quite a bit.
okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the point where basically there's not much slack on the rope, because I don't want it to be a case of me falling and then the rope going tense even.
Mm-hmm.
Not slack, as little slack as possible.
You actually think that, like, with you holding it as tight as you can, your feet your toes just kind of dangling off the edge of the pit. Looking down at the Black Pudding about 10 feet, about 8-10 feet below, you realise you could probably at this point let yourself fall and swing to the other wall. If you can withstand the shock of hitting the other wall and hold onto the rope, you'd be out of reach of the Black Pudding unless it moved upwards towards you.
Okay.
I see what you mean.
Is it possible to kind of tie my hat, tie it to any part of me so that I don't fall to my death?
Yeah, you can tie it to your waist.
I tie it to me.
Actually, you got 15, 20, 25, 30. You've got
Just
about
enough.
you've got enough. You only need 5 feet for a person, especially for a small creature.
I have enough rope to tie to subdue a midget, so I'm going to tie myself up or tie it around myself.
So you're going to subdue yourself. Speaking of dungeons,
Oh my.
And then I'm gonna
roll a athletics. Yeah, athletics with advantage.
Thank God with advantage. Oh
7.
God.
Unfortunately, that wasn't less than 5. The DC was-
Yay!
Oh
I
God.
didn't die horribly again.
You grab it, kind of pull it as close to yourself as possible after tying it around you, swing down, and as you hit the wall, you're angled so you're trying to catch your feet and bend your knees with it to catch that, but your feet kind of slip as they hit the wall, and instead you kind of bang, slamming your head and chest into the wall. It's painful, not enough to damage you, but enough to hurt, and then you start kind of achingly, I'll climb the rope.
Yeah, as he's climbing up, I'm also going to start pulling on it to try and speed it up so he doesn't get stuck there.
That does make it a bit easier. However, this does unfortunately add the uncomfortable effect of you being pulled up against a rough rock wall with very, very heavily burnt and blistered skin.
Nice.
It's not a pleasant experience. In fact, it's one of the least pleasant experiences that Anwar has ever found himself in.
Is it worse than pouring water on it?
Oh, yes. You're literally scraping it against rock.
Isn't he kind of like walking up the wall? Isn't he
I'm quite
walking up
happy
the
about
wall?
it.
Sorry?
Isn't he walking up the wall?
He slammed into it.
Slammed into it.
Yeah.
Rather than it being like, walk, it was slammed.
From your angle, though, you can't really see that. You just kind of heard a...
Crying.
Like screams of agony as you drag me up a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's doing one of his rare things of actually helping somebody, so you have to deal with it. Keep pulling.
This is how I help.
Eventually, Renlin does get pulled up to the top of the...
Does he?
Anwar.
Renlin.
Sorry, Anwar gets pulled up to the top of the pit and pulled over the edge.
Suddenly, Renlin just shoots into the ceiling.
At least some of those wounds have probably opened up now, and I'm just sort of like...
Yes. And it's the...
If only
it's
there was a
fresh
healer in the
blisters,
party.
Little bits of pus and stuff in them now. Like, it's not pleasant. It's very painful.
I walk up to him and poke one.
That hurts.
I'm done.
I
Right, let's move on, guys.
do that again. I'd say.
Poke.
No, I'm not going to shoot.
He dared me. I'm making friends.
I'll say to Glabagul as well. It's like, thank you for what you did earlier. That was good.
Heroic.
That was very literally no trouble on my part.
Well, at least he's efficient.
Modest.
God
And I'm
damn
gonna-
show off.
He's a
I'm gonna
modest-
start getting
he's a
ready
modest
to
dude.
move on. Keep an eye out, see if anyone's actually going to follow me.
Okay. Looking 11. Looking down the corridor. Fuck's sake.
Get good, Beanie.
I refuse.
Or at least get better.
Getting good is overrated. Getting
Not
better
really.
would
As
be
someone
impossible
who
to
still
make.
hasn't beaten one boss in Dark Souls 3, I completely agree.
You've still not beaten the first boss in Dark Souls 3?
You've not beaten Dark Souls 3.
I have, I just haven't beaten the end-game optional boss from the last DLC.
Oh. I thought you meant you hadn't beaten a single
Oh,
boss.
no,
in
I
Dark Souls.
definitely done that.
Because the way you
Like-
worded it, you said you hadn't beaten one boss. It's like,
like-
depending
Fair
on how you
enough,
can
but
interpret that, it
You
means you've not
have,
killed
no.
any of them.
I am yet to kill Medea the Dark Eater. Because
Yes,
haven't
kill
either.
Medea.
I
He
haven't
is
completed
bullshit.
that game. I think I'm like 2 or 3 bosses from the end, as far as I know. I've not got back to it.
Who's coming
Anyway.
with?
So,
I am going to follow him.
the corridor is a cavernous corridor. No longer are these walls carved and manufactured like the rest of the area you're in. Instead, it is a natural cavern that leads to a ovalish room in which you can see there is water pooled on the floor. Being in a cave, being fairly clear water, you can't really tell how deep it is. there is a small drip coming in through the ceiling, maybe half an inch in diameter, kind of constantly falling into the room. And you can see that this is probably where this is where the water is coming from. That's starting to drench the floors throughout the dungeon.
Didn't he say this sort of went up constantly? And there was like a hole in the ceiling?
He said there was a hole in the ceiling through which water was coming.
How big's that hole?
It's about half an inch in diameter. Although, again, it actually looks like the entire roof is made up from what looks like shifted rock. With enough force, these could also be moved. Although, looking at the leak, there is likely a body of water above that. You don't know how big that body of water is, but...
What's the floor like? What level is it? As in, if it started pouring down with water, would it just sort of fill up this place? Or because if the floor is flat, the water would have to run off and fill up other areas first before it started rising?
The tunnel does kind of descend to this room, but it is... Like, it's deep enough now in this room that it is going throughout the rest of the cave systems, or the dungeon. So if you were to flood this room, it would first fill the rest of the dungeon that you've seen so far. However, thinking back to it, you realise that this dungeon so far is a dead end everywhere. So this would basically be, depending on how big the body of water up there is, this could just be entirely filled, or you could just drain the water through here. You don't know.
It is also possible that this is the only way out of the cave by swimming downwards in the water.
It is also possible that by releasing the water and filling this cave up, we'd basically be sitting ducks if those black puddings came back.
Well, I was thinking if we tried to at least make enough of a hole that we could actually get through, then if it just keeps pouring water, then we could try swimming up and seeing how far it goes.
This is
it's
not
risky,
Minecraft.
but
it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. This is not Minecraft.
Well, I think you'll find if the room itself is entirely full, yes, there'll be a stream like going against you, but you will be able to then swim up. But we'd have to fill up the entire room first before we can do that. We can't just have like a waterfall and swim up that, because yes, that doesn't work. Well, no, we don't.
It's a small place.
I know how to speed up a little bit.
For what it's worth, you can also tell that the actual hole where the water's coming in is fairly close enough to the wall that if you were to focus on widening that hole, you could probably just climb the wall as well, if there wasn't enough water to do what Rendon has planned.
That does sound like a good idea.
Do you think that it might be possible for Glabagool to form a seal so that the room fills up faster if it does fill up?
I could do that. You can see the roof of the tunnel. Yeah.
And then when we're done,
you could do that.
When we've come out, Glabagool can follow us up to the surface and join us in our adventures.
Can slimes swim?
I can float.
Oozes? Slimes.
Oozes.
Buoyant.
Slews.
Can myconids swim?
We've had this situation before.
They can't.
Not really.
No.
Did you just
I
stop
can tread water.
rotating on the spot?
One thing that myconids can swim better than, though, is climb, considering you've got no bloody arms.
No,
Or at
we
least
went
very
through
short
this.
ones.
We
very
went
stubby
through
ones.
this last week. I definitely have hands because my attack is fist.
That's very true. Do have hands.
Right, so do you want to give that a go then? We'll try and widen the hole that's already there next to the wall and then try and see how much water comes down and see if we can climb up.
Yes.
Widen
This is
your
going to
hole.
be extremely agonizingly painful for most of us.
Yeah, because of all the acid and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this, but we kind of need a way out.
Yeah, because I mean the way we fell down originally is too steep. We can't possibly climb up that.
Yeah.
I
And
would
also-
argue that we didn't try, but yeah, okay.
Well, we looked at it and based on what we were told from that, no, we just can't. It's just
we didn't
too.
try.
Well, I'm going to trust Beanie on the fact he told us that we just can't. So
What?
yeah.
What did I say you can't?
Kamal would have tried.
Climb up the hole that we fell down.
Yeah.
The hole you fell down was sealed.
Right.
Basically, as you fell, the shifting rubble and stuff also kind of fell with you, and you basically had very hefty rocks kind of fall into place above you. There was enough of a hole that you could kind of shout through it, but it was a lot more is a lot more stable than looks like the shifted rocks in this room.
So, yeah, if we can have Glabagool sort of seal the way in, then we can try filling this area up. But it's going to be painful for us, but we can give it a go. So what do people say?
I put on my hat.
Just stepping into this room and the water, as it starts to drench your blistered legs, it does burn and ache and sting. It's a painful experience, but you do.
Is it the sort of thing where you get used to it after a while?
No, very much. In
When
fact,
you step into like a really, really, really hot bath, and then after a while it's like, oh, that doesn't burn anymore.
for Anwar, with the like freshly ground blisters, you are fighting back tears of agony. Like, it is really, really bad for you. But you do manage to all kind of hold your own against them, force you to like power through it and get into the room. Glabagool, as promised, kind of seals the corridor behind you. You hear as he squeezes into place.
Right, I'm going to try an Eldritch Blast on the hole, see if I can start working at the rock.
Okay.
Blast that hole.
Roll and attack roll.
I thought you were going to say do a dungeoneering check. I was like, what? There's a reason they got rid of that, because it's pretty useless.
It's not useless. It's
Engineering.
useful.
Yeah,
Sounds like it would be the perfect
Engineering was kind of useless.
23.
23.
Make him do a larceny check.
Roll damage.
Yeah, we should have a larceny skill.
Yeah,
10
add
force
larceny-
damage.
Add a larceny stat.
Nice.
That's sleight of handing this effectively.
No,
No,
larceny is
You
fine.
don't understand.
Oh no,
World of
closest thing to
Darkness.
criminality in this is sleight of hand.
Well, in World of Darkness, you can apply larceny to anything so long as it is considered
Against the
criminal.
law.
So
Fair
it can go
enough.
anywhere between pickpocketing to running away from police over a chain link fence. You
Fair
can
enough.
really apply it to anything.
Trying to quietly take your commanding officer's binoculars off him while he's unconscious.
That's
Of
true
course.
too.
Um,
You larceny, World of Darkness
The
coveralls.
Eldritch Blast, which is a greenish orb, isn't it? For you?
Eldritch Blab.
Mm-hmm.
Greenish orb fires into the ceiling, and there's a popping sound as it smashes against the rock. And then there's a
Step
and
back!
Immediately, part of the roof just like half the roof just caves in as this very unstable rock shift had just landed.
Beanie, I feel now's a good point to point out Cobalt is now level 9.
You've finished drinking
The
your
Kraken is
Kraken.
defeated.
However, in your alcoholic stupor, fuck you.
Oh,
Hey, that sounds non-consensual at best.
it's Beanie. It's always consensual if it's with Beanie, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm right.
That's fair.
So.
Roof caves in.
So half the roof has basically caved in. I will say it would be a dexterity check on all of your behalves to avoid the falling rubble. For the most part, you were smart enough to look at that's the part of roof
Oh
where
no!
where the
Come
hole is.
on!
Stay away from it. But
Yeah,
there is
but
still bits
you
that fall
actually
in your
have
direction.
help, Laurie.
So do I.
Yeah, but
It's
still,
a-
I don't know how much he's gonna hurt.
What does
Yeah,
shape?
Skull's probably unconscious.
What does shape changing do to my stats?
Changes them.
For what it's worth, don't worry about it. Topsy or Turvy would never shape change at the moment. Like, he's not.
No.
It's not something he's comfortable with. It's
Okay.
It was on the card that I sent to you that you lost on the way from my house to yours, which is like 10 houses.
You sound kind of mad about this.
Mind?
I'm mad about this. It doesn't
That's
affect
mad
me.
I'm more confused. Like, I don't even know how I did that.
Renlin and Stool, you both take 3 points of damage as some of the smaller rocks kind of crash against you on their way into the water below.
I feel you're being generous there, specifically on my behalf.
No, I actually rolled a d6. I rolled a 3. Everybody else, you take
generous.
you take 1 point of damage as you suffer the same, but manage to dodge the most of it.
Ouch.
Now the water is filling this room very quickly. Like, the entire place where the roof caved in is just water, and immediately within seconds it fills this room.
How big is the actual hole itself?
Reaches my neck. My
The
hand
hole
just goes...
itself is half that room, so
Oh, so we can easily swim up that.
yeah, like it's basically this area here.
Yeah, as soon as the water reaches my neck, it's kind of like my hat just...
As soon as the water reaches my neck.
Can I just point out?
So yes, you can all see it as this strange apparatus just affects Anwar, and especially as the water hits, and you can see all of you are feeling the pain of the blisters now, but Anwar especially with the blisters, you're suddenly basically just in a bubble filled with screams.
First chance we get, I'm gonna sort of like take a deep breath and then like try and as it fills up to sort of go right now, and then try and swim up as fast as I can.
As again, this room fills up in seconds. You cast your spell, the rocks fall, and immediately it's
and everyone dies.
A case of immediately trying to get as much breath in.
All right, so what we rolling?
I'm gonna do what I can to try and help Stool, on account of he has stubby little feet and stubby little hands.
I will say that gives you disadvantage on your swim check then, but it gives Stool advantage on his.
I was gonna
grab
Stool because he's so handsome.
Is swim an actual thing or?
So cool.
Swim is athletics.
Athletics, right.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
It's not for what it's worth.
Oh come on! Fucking hell!
What I was gonna say is, for what it's worth, it's actually not a difficult swim, because as soon as the few seconds it takes to fill up the room, with Glabagool kind of blocking one entrance and there seems to be not much current above, the water is very still. However, that's a 1. Is that?
I mean, I've not
4
rolled
on Cobalt?
yet.
You've not rolled yet. Okay, that's your dexterity save.
That's
a 5. Fortunately, it's DC 5, so.
And I have advantage on this.
You do?
I want advantage, please.
Stool
Can't roll for shit.
Stool powers through the water like a torpedo. We're like, no, Stool, take us with you.
Anwar, you go to.
Everyone's just like, we need to help the little mushroom man. He's like, no.
You're holding
This
me
is my moment.
You both go to grab Stool, but with all the pain of the blisters and the water and stuff, this isn't something that Stool's used to. He just wants to get away. He immediately just paddles his legs quicker than he ever has before and torpedoes upwards through the water. You all quickly lose sight of him.
Okay. We realise that Renlin is having trouble swimming.
Now, a reminder, how many turns can we actually spend underwater holding our breath?
Basically, your constitution score
in minutes.
In minutes?
Oh.
No, it's your modifier
in minutes.
Modifier in minutes.
Okay, so 2 minutes. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Wait, you say modifier in minutes because that means I'm dead.
No, there is a minute.
Minimum of 1.
Right.
Minimum of 1.
Well, I forget exactly how it works, but don't worry about turn orders if you're prepared for going underwater.
Shall we give it another go?
If it gets to the point where that's an issue, I will start taking that into account. I don't think it will be. It's not. Well, for first off, over this turn, yes, Anwar, you can see that Renlin has basically. It seems like he was near enough to the torrent of water as it came down that it kind of knocked him back, and he seems to be stuck on the floor, kind of. He's almost trying to swim downwards. You can tell, like he's disorientated. He's lost his sense of which way's up and which way's down. Turvey, are you kind of see Stool go up and start paddling after him in a much slower fashion? And also, are you actually staying to give Renlin a hand then?
I'm staying for as long as it takes to get Renlin to safety.
In that case, you roll with disadvantage, Renlin roll with advantage. I'll need 1 from Stool and Turvey as well.
It's the same roll, right?
Same roll, yeah.
Oh my god,
with
that's
my crit, Beanie.
just
Also,
enough.
I took into account your crit, don't worry.
Oh.
Actually, with your 20, yeah, fair enough. You've shot through. You're basically near the surface. Renlin, with Anwar's help kind of dragging you upwards, you manage to start making headway. He basically points out the right direction to you. You start kicking. He starts kicking, and you basically just arm in arm, both going up towards the surface.
Both screaming in pain.
No, you screaming in pain. Renlin really trying not to scream in pain because that'd mean opening his mouth underwater. This is one of the biggest problems right now that you're having. However, At this point, Stool, you kind of burst out of the water and are basically a buoyant little mushroom man, kicking your legs frantically, looking for some sort of land. Turvey, you're right behind him. You managed to break the surface shortly after. Renlin and Anwar, I'll need one more roll.
What disadvantage for me again?
Disadvantage for you if you're helping him, yeah. Advantage for Renlin if you're helping him.
8.
Yeah, 15.
You are both fine. You managed to both break the surface about 10 seconds later than Stool and Turvey. All of you, well, except for Anwar, reaching, pushing your head out the water and catching a deep breath. And you realise you are in a large cavernous room. The lake itself seems to go up to the walls of the cavern all around you. There is no shore as far as you can see. Looking around you, you can those of you with 60-foot dark vision can see walls in all directions.
Oh,
However,
cool.
above you, you can actually see what seems to be a crisscrossing series of strands of some sort of silk or cobweb.
Well, first of all, I get to the top of the water. Oh, thank you, Anwar, my friend. You certainly have your priorities straight. Oh, and then I'm going to start having a look around to see what I can see.
I probably should point out that I tried helping Stool first.
I actually think this is a very good point to end this session.
I feel like we've just ended
okay.
up back at the start again.
I know why you think
We popped out in a
Oh,
whole
I know what
water
you
of
think.
cobwebs, yeah.
It's a different look to how that was. Like that one was basically one giant cobweb, like across the bottom of the place. This is actually more like think you know those things people do with string around their hands, like cat's cradle stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, but on a much larger scale.
Okay.
So, in other words, a spider web.
Yes, but not.
But on the ceiling.
It's like a pattern rather than an actual web.
No, but much more 3D, three-dimensional. Like the one below Velkenvelv was 2D. It was almost like a net, like a blanket. Whereas this is three-dimensional. It's in all kind of like it's up, it's across, it's all over.
I'm guessing there's no map for this area.
There is not. We have moved out of the Oozing Temple. But yes, this is a good place to end it. You actually got through that temple faster than I expected. I thought you might be still on that next week.
XP.
XP?
For the combat. And for the finding stuff. And for the blisters. And for making friends with Glabagul.
You've already made friends with Glabagul last week. Don't try and get double XP out of that. Ugh.
Well, you didn't give us XP for making friends with him.
I didn't, admittedly. I will give both Anwar and Renlin a hero point, and
Inspiration.
Inspiration, that's the one. Sorry, they're called so many different things in different systems. And Cobalt and Kamar, you both also get an inspiration point as an apology. This is a session away from your character, so you've had more sessions away from yours.
In place of that, can Turvey level up?
No.
Ah.
In place of that, can still be like actually good.
Nope. That would get rid of his whole personality thing.
Also,
He would have a magnificent arc.
No, what we need to do is we need to find some sort of demonic miracle grow.
At first we thought Stool was weak, but then he grew strong.
Muscle bound.
Then he grew into a muscle man.
I'm immediately on one track.
Like the mushrooms in Dark Souls. There's the little tiny ones that fall over all the time, but no, this one got big. This one just has like this right hook that just knocks things down.
He turned into a muscle man.
You almost
He in
had
fact
it.
Turned into.
I will say
It's going to be
that
just
Ren-
been doing this for a moment.
Altogether, I would actually definitely say he's a pretty fun guy.
He turns into one of them.
Oh.
What?
Look at my camera.
Ooh.
Yeah.
is that an older one?
I've
To be fair-
no idea.
To be fair, the fun thing of the Myconid is that they can actually they develop very differently. Like it's not like humans where each one is fairly similar. For Myconid, they can look very, very different. Like the same way that you can look at different mushrooms and they're very different, like different colours, different.
Right. So this is now the canon. This is now the canon look for Stool.
What's our XP?
You.
That's
both
terrifying.
Renman- it's terrifying.
It's adorable.
It is
For what it's
adorable.
worth, for my stream, for damn it, sorry, I was trying to do my show it off on my screen, but it's really awkward because of my cropping. Anyway, you get 200 XP each, Anwar and Renlin.
Remind me, with the hero points things, I think we already had one.
Yep.
You can can have up to 3. Remember that you can either use them to add a d4 to a d20 roll at any point, or you can use them to roll a d20 and gain that much experience. These are homebrew rules, folks. Don't geek out.
I'll take the 10.
10 experience. Fair enough. All right.
I have 1911. 1911 XP.
I've got 1425.
Don't quite blaze it.
I will say,
Yeah, it was good.
next week we are actually in a position where we will be taking the story to both sides as opposed to just focusing on one team.
I think we're getting closer
Hopefully
together.
that's a little more interesting. Things are definitely happening. But yes, thank you for watching, folks. I'm going to end my stream now. I don't know what Laurie and Mike are doing, but I will catch you later.
Gonna move on to Hands of Fate. Hand of Fate.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the end of the
shit,
stream.
son.
So thanks for watching,
Very good
guys,
stuff.
and I'll
Thank
see
you.
you next time.
Phil,
The next stream will be Monday, Killing Floor
how
2.
far did
So
see we're in
see you
Path
then.
of Exile?
In Path of
Willow.
Exile, we're in